subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Synopsis. Because of an accident, Chen Fang traveled to the world of pirates and became the owner of Wanjie Auction House. In order to survive better in One Piece world, Chen Fang relied on the power of the auction house to sell the treasures of the heavens and the world. Unknowingly, the world of One Piece has completely changed. Blood's successor boundary, Zanpakutō, Saint Cloth, the appearance of all kinds of treasures in the world of One Piece has attracted countless people to go crazy. Looking at the auction house that has been sought after by countless people, Chen Fang said flatly, "Which world is the best place to open the new branch?" Chapter 1: The Auction House of the Heavens, the Shocking Sea Pirate World. Sabaody Archipelago. Half a month ago, a resplendent and magnificent palace appeared on the island. The gorgeous decoration and the shining golden buildings made people unable to take their eyes away at a glance. Such a palace appeared on the Sabaody Archipelago, not to mention those pirates. But the celestial dragons who came to play on the Sabaody Archipelago couldn't help but want to take the palace as their own. But for some reason, there's a golden film around the palace to prevent outsiders from entering. Not even the guards of the celestial dragons could break the membrane. Originally, the residents on the island were used to the existence of the palace. Although there were still people who wanted to enter, more people began to pay attention to other news. But just today, streams of light shot up into the sky from the palace, and then turned into streams of light and flew out in all directions. Then what is that? The peddler near the palace saw the beam of light soaring into the sky, and was so frightened that his legs limp and fell to the ground. Big news. If you sell this news, you can definitely get a lot of money. Presumably those celestial dragons adults will be satisfied with this news. There are also some clever people who have already begun to think about how to use this news when they saw this scene. But there's a person on Sabaody Archipelago who behaves a little differently. In the know, 13 area of Sabaody Archipelago, a middle-aged man with silver hair and somewhat scruffy clothes looked solemnly at the pale golden invitation letter in his hand. The heavens, the auction house. It seems that the sea is going to be lively again. After draining the remaining half bottle of wine in his hand, Rayleigh walked into Shacky's blackmail bar at the back. It seems that you also received this item. Hearing Shacky's words, Rayleigh realized that she had the same invitation as his own. I don't know who the owner of that palace is. He is so powerful. As an intelligence dealer, Shacky has done a perfect job of hiding her own information. Even if she is the CP of the world government, no one knows her true identity. But now, the owner of the palace delivered the invitation directly to her. From this, it can be seen that the master of the palace has great supernatural powers. New World. In Dressrosa's royal palace, Doflamingo, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, also received an invitation letter. Doflamingo, who had been doing nothing just now, also suddenly saw a golden light attacking him and thought that someone was attacking him. As a result, Doflamingo discovered that the golden light turned out to be an invitation letter when the golden light fell in front of his eyes. Dover, we have found out those things flew out of that strange building in Sabaody. A snotty-nosed Tory pole hurried in from outside to tell Doflamingo the news he had just received. That weird building. Looking at the invitation letter in his hand, Dover's expression became more and more crazy. On the other side of the New World, on a vast sea, hearty laughter came from a huge pirate ship. Goo, it's so interesting. Let's go, little ones. Sabaody Archipelago. Good old man. Invitation letter, Katakuri. Go and have a look. If you have delicious food, get it for me. Charlotte Linlin, who was lying on the throne, was not at all interested in the so-called auction on the invitation. Although it is mysterious which building in the Sabaody Archipelago is, it is enough for Charlotte Linlin to let Katakuri go. After all, among all nations, Katakuri's strength is only second to her. In Wanakuni, Kaido, who fell asleep after drinking, did not receive the invitation. Although there are many people in the Beast Pirates who are curious about the golden light that just flew by. But no one wants to wake up a drunk Kaido. After all, Master Kaido, who is drunk and crazy, is very scary. Marineford, Naval Headquarters, which was already very dignified, became even more tense today. So, the thing that flew out of that strange building is this invitation letter. In the conference room, in front of Marshal Sengoku were 3 invitation letters shining with golden light. According to the news from a Marine base in Sabaody, this evil thing did come out of that strange building. The crane sitting next to Sengoku also had a serious face. For the building that appeared in the Sabaody archipelago, celestial dragons had already taken a fancy to it, and had said several times that they hoped that Admiral would break that layer of shield. This matter was finally suppressed by Sengoku, but in the end the building made what happened today. Sengoku can now imagine the greedy faces of those celestial dragons. Besides, many great pirates have already received invitations. Should we Marine go up and take a look? The Vice Admiral Ghost Spider, sitting behind, also spoke about the information he had just received. Of course I'm going. Whatever the purpose of that mysterious building is, we have no reason to ignore it. And if there's a chance, you can also wipe out the garbage on the sea there. Akainu looked at everyone present with a serious face and spoke very seriously. In Sakazuki's view, a group of big pirates gathered in the Sabaody archipelago, no matter what the Marine needs to be there. But Sakazuki also understands that there are so many big pirates, and it is unrealistic for Marine to catch them all at once. However, there is still a chance to take the opportunity to eliminate some pirates. Forget it, let's focus on investigating that building this time, and Celestial Dragons will also give an explanation. After thinking about it for a while, Sengoku gave up Sakazuki's proposal, but came up with a relatively stable way. At this time, in the mysterious building that is the center of discussions of many forces at sea, there is indeed a handsome young man who is arranging seats one by one and is still muttering in his mouth. I hope there is no problem this time, otherwise I can't beat those sea monsters now. At the same time, the Revolutionary Army, which also received the invitation letter, did have some questions about whether to go to the Sabaody archipelago. Sabaody archipelago is too close to Marine Base and Red Line. If their identities are discovered, they may not be able to come back. If I don't go, I'm a little worried that this mysterious auction house really is good things. After all, no matter the origin or the means, the auction house that sent the invitation letter is still obscured by the fog. Leader, let me go. Just when everyone was hesitating, Sabo, the chief of staff, took the initiative to stand up. After so many years of cultivation by Drago's side, Sabo's strength is already very strong. It is also a good choice to let him go. Chapter 2, the boiling Sabaody archipelago. The building above the Sabaody archipelago has a name, called the Tiantian Auction House. Very atmospheric name. It traveled to this world with that young man named Chen Fang just now. In other words, Chen Fang was selected by this auction house to be brought to One Piece world. I said, is it really okay? You must know that the person who received the invitation this time is not a simple person. After Chen Fang finished speaking, a transparent figure gradually appeared in midair. Please rest assured, my lord, you are invincible in the auction house, and no one can hurt you. However, this rule only applies to the auction house. If you want to gain more strength, you can only rely on the rake. That illusory figure in midair whispered in Chen Fang's ear. Well, I hope so. Chen Fang looked at Xiao Bai floating in front of him and prayed in a low voice. The existence of Xiao Bai is Chen Fang's assistant, and he can also be regarded as an artificial intelligence with a soul. When Chen Fang chatted with Xiao Bai said that he had been in the auction house since he could remember. According to Xiao Bai, Chen Fang is his 11th manager. The auction house is protected by this rule. As long as you enter the auction house, even if you have the means to reach the sky, you will be suppressed. Most of the previous managers died because they left the auction house without authorization due to lack of strength. As for Chen Fang's predecessor, because he wanted to express his sincerity and sent the invitation letter in person, he was slapped to death by the Demon King. That's why the auction house put up a protective shield this time, not only to prevent outsiders from coming in, but also to prevent the managers from running out before the end of the first auction and killing people. I hope there will be some good things in this first auction. Chen Fang couldn't help but twitched his mouth when he looked at the auction items that were full of question marks on the invitation letter. In the auction house, if Chen Fang wants to improve his strength, he needs to hold an auction. Chen Fang will get a reward for every auction item. The higher the purchase price, the richer the reward Chen Fang will get. This will also urge Chen Fang to carefully organize every auction. After all, the results of the auction are directly linked to the rewards he can get. When sending out invitations before, Chen Fang was quite bold. It can be said that in the entire pirate world, apart from the five elders and the mysterious Chen Fang, the remaining big power, gave an invitation letter. As for whether these guys will come, Chen Fang is not too sure. But if he wants to come here, there should be some people who are curious to come and have a look. Daredevil guys like Doflamingo are definitely coming. As for the items to be auctioned, they were prepared by the auction house, although Xiaobai said that this time the items would definitely catch the eye. But Chen Fang was still a little worried that this first auction would not be able to shock those present. In order to take care of New World's guests who came from afar, Chen Fang deliberately set the auction time for a week later. During this week, the news of the auction has already spread across the sea. Some of the forces, such as the Four Emperors, Shichibukai, Marine, and even the Revolutionary Army chose to go there. This group of big shots began to gather towards the Sabeti archipelago, which also attracted many guys who wanted to join the fun. In the port of Sabeti archipelago, pirates appeared here one after another. Some of this group of pirates came from New World to watch the fun, and some were newcomers who had just debuted. But the purpose of their coming here is the same, that is, to take a look at the pirates resounding across the sea. Look, it's Don Quixote Doflamingo in Shichibukai. It's such a strong breath. It's indeed 7 warlords of the sea. Quick, look behind, it's Hawkeye, the world's #1 swordsman, Hawkeye Mihawk. Those who received the invitation letter came first, Doflamingo and Mihawk from 7 warlords of the sea. Furo Furfur. Didn't expect you to be interested in this kind of thing, Mihawk. Doflamingo, who fell from the sky, looked at the taciturn Mihawk and asked curiously. After all, in the eyes of the world, Mihawk is not interested in anything but kendo. It just happens to be nearby. Mihawk was right. He happened to be near the Sabeti archipelago when he received the invitation. Otherwise, he wouldn't have arrived here so soon. If it was far away, Mihawk might not have made a special trip. Looks like we're here early. Doflamingo didn't pay much attention to Mihawk's answer, but looked at the golden building in the distance. The corners of his mouth gradually curved. Only when Doflamingo and Mihawk were far away did the pirate traders at the port dare to make any noise. They didn't even have a nerve to take a second look when Doflamingo and Mihawk were around. Seeing them walk away now, these guys dare to continue the discussion. It's really powerful, as expected of 7 warlords of the sea. Yeah, I was too scared to move just because of momentum. It seems that there will be many big names coming. But before the group of guys could say a few words, they heard the terrified voice of a pirate. Hurry up, run away. It's Marine Admiral. Marine Admiral is here. Akiji Admiral and Marine Hero Garp. Hurry up, I don't want to be locked and impelled down. On the sea, a huge warship is heading towards the port of the Sabeti archipelago. There's so many pirates on Sabeti archipelago. If that guy Sakazuki comes, he will definitely capture them all. Kazan, with a bag under his head, was breathing and talking to Garp beside him. As for the pirates fleeing around the port, neither Kazan nor Garp cared. After all, today's Sabeti archipelago can be said to be very chaotic, and those little pirates are not worthy of Kazan and Garp's attention. Pirates like this are like weeds on the Sabeti archipelago, and they can't be killed or caught. Chapter 3: The Arrival of Whitebeard. Death to celestial dragons before Garp's warship approached the port. The pirates who had been running around in a panic before suddenly stopped their flippers and looked towards the coast in shock. At the same time, Garp and Kazan on the warship also felt the powerful breath coming from behind. On a huge pirate ship, a man with a beard like a crescent moon was standing on the bow of the ship, and on the left and right sides of him were also 2 very powerful men. Gwahaha. Long time no see, Garp. Whitebeard, standing on the bow, looked at Garp and Kazan and greeted them. Unlike the other Marines on the ship, seeing Whitebeard Garp didn't have any special reaction, and he was still picking his nose. Didn't expect you to come in person, Whitebeard. Although Garp spoke very casually, his body was ready to fight. Kazan on the side also stared closely at the Phoenix Marco and Diamond Jaws beside Whitebeard. I'm not Garp here to fight, but if you want to fight, I'll fight you to the end. Whitebeard took a step forward, and instantly a powerful Conqueror's haki gushed out from Whitebeard's body. Boom, boom, boom. The originally calm sea suddenly set off huge waves. The Marine on the warship has no resistance when facing Whitebeard's Conqueror's haki. With a burst of plop and plop, the Marines on the warship fell to the ground one after another. Of course, the pirates on Whitebeard's ship also couldn't bear Whitebeard's Conqueror's haki, fainted a lot. Fortunately, Whitebeard's Conqueror's haki comes and goes as fast as it goes. If the people on the boat were really knocked out, they would have to sail over by themselves. Looking at Whitebeard, who put away his Conqueror's haki, Garp also regained his lazy look and fell asleep on the chair behind him. I can't help it, Mr. Garp. Looking at Garp, who fell asleep, Kazan also looked helpless. Maybe it's because Whitebeard is still in front of him, so even if Kazan wants to lie down and rest like Garp, he still needs to make a show for the time being. Not long after Whitebeard and Garp boarded the Sabeti archipelago, a tall man wrapped in a scarf also boarded the island on a boat of the big Owen pirate group. And then a group of guys wrapped in green trench coats boarded Sabeti from a small road archipelago. Didn't catch anyone's attention. At this time, outside the Tiantian auction house, the light yellow shield began to disappear. Just when everyone was about to enter the arena, a very arrogant voice came from not far away. Ha ha, this thing is finally gone. Hurry up, go faster. Doflamingo and others who heard the voice looked back and saw the celestial dragons walking towards this side under the protection of a group of CP members. St. Charles rose. It's really interesting. I don't know what decision the owner of this auction house will make. At this time, Whitebeard and others had already arrived at the gate of the auction, completely blocking the way of St. Charles Rose. Marine over there, what are you waiting for? I haven't caught these pirates yet. As soon as the voice of St. Charles fell, Whitebeard, Kakuri, and Mihawk looked at it with cold eyes. The murderous look in his eyes instantly made St. Charles break out in a cold sweat. All at once fell from the slave beneath him. Damn, what are you still looking at? Hurry up and kill them for me. As the celestial dragons, when had St. Charles been humiliated like this? The angry St. Charles immediately shouted to the CPs around him. However, although St. Charles Rose didn't know Whitebeard, Katakuri, and others, those CP members would definitely know him. Who is that? Bring this guy back soon. Garp looked at the embarrassing St. Charles Rose and said to the CP members beside him. But before those CP members could move, a voice came from in front of them. Squeak! The door of the auction house slowly opened, and a young man in casual clothes appeared in front of everyone. The auction will start soon. Please show your invitation letter. For the scene in front of him, Chen Fang had already prepared for it, so he didn't feel nervous at all. As for the celestial dragons behind, Chen Fang didn't care much. VD, you dare to ignore me. I want you to be my slave. Charo Saint, who has not yet come out of the humiliation of Whitebeard and others, was completely blown up when he saw that Chen Fang didn't even look at himself. Give it to me. You bastards. The members of CP did not dare to attack Whitebeard and others because they knew the strength of Whitebeard and others, and they were worried that Whitebeard and the others would accidentally injure Charles Rose St. But Chen Fang, although very mysterious, these CP people don't care much. Numerous CP figures disappeared in an instant and charged towards Chen Fang. Garp, Whitebeard, and others at the side saw this scene and did not intervene. They want to see what the owner of this auction has. But what happened next shocked the spectators like them. The few CPs who used shaving and rushed toward Chen Fang were inexplicably set on the way. Looking at the fingers with armament haki on the fingertips one by one, and the stiff figure, no one can make it small, as Whitebeard and Garp, the strongest among them, their hearts were also shocked at this time. Garp and Whitebeard used observation hockey when those CPS were just getting started. But even so, they didn't find out how Chen Fang did it. The next moment, the bodies of those CP members began to disintegrate. Swish, swish, swish. The figures of Whitebeard, Garp, and Katakuri moved away in an instant, widening the distance between themselves and Chen Fang. Those few members of CP are indeed not strong, but if they want to solve it, they will definitely not be able to do so silently. Chapter 4: Kill Celestial Dragons. Haki. Kill in front of Admiral Akiji, and Garp's originally calm eyes suddenly became serious. Others may just be surprised, but they, the real powerhouses, know the horror better. The young man on the stage showed no signs of making a move at all, but these CP members just disappeared out of thin air, which was clearly beyond their comprehension. This kid, it's not easy, Garp murmured, his expression rarely becoming vigilant. It's really scary. Akiji exhaled white gas from his mouth. What is this? The eyeballs of St. Charlos suddenly enlarged, and the bloodshot eyes showed his terror to the fullest, but they were immediately replaced by anger. Anyone who dares to kill me, hurry up and arrest him. I will ravage him. St. Charles looked at Garp and the others standing at the top of the world's celestial dragons. Fear is always short-lived for them, and pride is their eternal attitude. Hey, I'm calling you. Don't hurry up. Garp glanced at Akiji next to him, and he seemed to have returned to his usual hip-hop appearance. Akiji could only show helplessness on his face. The strongest CPs around St. Charlos had all been wiped out. In theory, Chen Fang had already threatened the safety of St. Charlos. Even if he, as Admiral, does not need to obey the holy word of Charlos completely, but in such a crisis moment, it is his duty to stand up. Regarding this sudden change, everyone present remained silent in a tacit understanding. This young man who appeared suddenly made them very curious, especially the conflict with celestial dragons. They loved to watch it even more. This man is not very old, but he is quite courageous. He dared to clash with Tianlong and even killed his guard face to face. I don't know this guy at all. An unknown person dares to be so rampant, even if he has some strength. But he is facing Marine Admiral. It's a pity that he will die when he becomes famous. I haven't seen the auction item yet, but it's not bad to watch the excitement first. Everyone present was discussing or laughing at Chen Fang one after another. Everyone, I invited you to participate in the auction, not to fight with you. These guys don't have eyes. I just give a small punishment. Please stay calm, and the auction will continue. There was a faint smile on the corner of Chen Fang's mouth, as if nothing happened just now. The calmer Chen Fang was, the more furious Charles Rose Saint was. Chen Fang's repeated neglect was simply trampling on the dignity of celestial dragons. Even if the means Chen Fang showed just now were enough to scare him for a short time. But the legendary Marine hero in Akiji, one of the 3 Marine admirals who were the sealing combat force in the entire sea, are by his side, so what else should he be afraid of? This damn guy, Akiji, hurry up, I'm going to cut off his tongue bit by bit, and then sew his mouth up. St. Charles roared loudly, showing his anger and confidence unscrupulously. There was a hint of impatience in Akiji's eyes, but he still took a step forward. Boom! At the same time, a huge momentum was released from his body. The noisy voices in the entire place also stopped abruptly. The people present were all middle and high-level combat forces of various forces, but most of them couldn't help but sweat on their faces. It's really noisy, so I can't participate in the auction properly. Icicle. Before Chen Fang finished speaking, a cold light fell on him, and his whole body instantly turned into an ice sculpture. Akiji, on the other hand, just raised his arm. Wow. As expected of Marine Admiral, he managed to kill this guy with one move. Isn't it? Those guys just now were eliminated in an instant. Why did they get caught in this one? I thought he was such a strong guy, but I didn't expect that he was still not a one-shot enemy in front of Marine Admiral. I thought there was something exciting to watch, but it seems that he is just a sensationalist. The scene became noisy. Only Whitebeard, Garp, and others did not speak, just squinted at the ice sculptures on the stage. Akiji, how do you want me to cut his tongue? The tone of St. Charles seemed a bit resentful, but that proud look told everyone that his celestial dragons were sacred and inviolable. Even Marine Admiral has to listen to him. No, the idiot in front of him is a living example. Saying that, Charles Rose ran to the stage with brisk steps. Damn slave. Isn't he quite capable of yelling? Scream again. Break your leg first. While yelling and cursing, St. Charles Rose pulled out the saber of a guard beside him and slashed at Chen Fang's leg. Boom! The crisp impact resounded throughout the venue, and the shattered ice cubes fell to the ground. It seems that I have to solve the source of your noise first, so that my auction can proceed smoothly. Originally, Celestial Dragons was my big client. It seems that you have no chance. The imaginary scene of a broken leg did not happen, and some just fell to the ground with ice. And it's not just the ice on the legs, but the ice on Chen Fang's whole body. On the other hand, Chen Fang was not affected in any way. Not good. Aokiji and Garp froze for a moment. Aokiji also disappeared in place in an instant. Hey, don't look at me. Look at your feet. Chen Fang reminded St. Charles Rose, who was stunned in front of him. St. Charles Rose immediately looked down. No! St. Charles' wrath roared instantly. The pride in his eyes for many years had long since disappeared from Shaoshan. In just such a short while, his left leg had already disappeared, and it was still dissipating bit by bit at a speed visible to the naked eye. At this time, Aokiji also came to St. Charles, grabbed him, and retreated away from Chen Fang. But still can't stop this dissipation. You can see it, but you can't stop it. Hurry up and stop. The crime of killing celestial dragons is not something you can afford with a small auction. Aokiji originally wanted to attack Chen Fang, but now it is not a matter of Chen Fang's life or death. If St. Charles died in this place, all of them could bear the blame. Even if they killed Chen Fang, they would not be able to make up for it. In this sea, there is nothing Chen Fang, can't afford. The corner of Chen Fang's mouth still had that confident curve. Simple and arrogant. No! St. Charles Rose roared stubbornly at the end and finally witnessed his own demise. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The whole venue became unusually quiet again. So quiet that even the sound of sweat falling to the ground was extremely ear-piercing. Garp wiped the sweat from his brow. He was naturally dismissive of the celestial dragons. But no one can deny that the nobles of the world are the sky of this sea. No one can offend them, let alone take their lives. Many people will have such an idea, but no one will act. Even if they are as strong as the four emperors, they will think twice about this kind of thing and try to avoid it as much as possible. Killing the celestial dragons is a naked provocation to the world government, and it is a challenge to the sky of this sea. Garp never imagined that someone would kill celestial dragons in public. Everyone present thought the same way. But this kind of behavior, which seems very stupid to everyone, just happened in this magical auction house. All right, the auction will continue. The culprit, Chen Fang, raised his hands, simple yet confident. Chapter 5: Aokiji's Defeat. The auction officially begins. Interesting. The scene just now shocked everyone except Doflamingo. Until St. Charles Ross completely disappeared. The corners of Doflamingo's mouth became more evil than usual. In his eyes, the identity of celestial dragons is mediocre. He, who is also a celestial dragon himself, just finds things more interesting. This young man, not bad. Rayleigh in the corner took a sip of his wine. His eyes began to become more interested. Interesting is interesting. It seems that this guy didn't ask us to participate in the auction, but to watch him fight Marine. Whitebeard's expression returned to normal. A smile appeared on his face. Everyone disagreed with what Chen Fang just said about the continuation of the auction. Killing the nobles of the world and provoking the authority of the world government in this place is still in front of Marine Admiral and a legendary Marine hero Garp. What kind of auction are you doing? Let's go to war. Gradually, the faces of the pirates also showed smiles. They didn't kill people, but they could eat enough melons. It's explosive, it's amazing. Ha ha ha, it's just like my hunch. There'll be big news here. Everyone is waiting for the follow-up. Only Morgans is laughing and writing. No one is more excited than him, the guy who runs the news. The celestial dragons were killed, which was headlines among headlines. After the shock, the atmosphere of the venue was in stark contrast. Watch the lively neutrals and pirates, and the enraged Marine and St. Charles Rose's entourage. This Garp froze in place, not knowing what to say for a moment. Akiji's whole body exuded a terrifying chill, and he, who was always calm, became unusually serious at this moment. Isn't it? This is the nobleman of the world. So he was killed like this? It's over. It's over. This place is about to become a battlefield. I have to run away. Killing the celestial dragons is declaring war on the world government and the Marine. Who the hell is this guy? The venue became noisy again. How can this be an auction? He is either looking for death or setting off a revolution. This kind of person is very suitable for us. This guy is so arrogant. It doesn't fit our revolutionary army's cautious style. Our revolutionary army is inclusive of all rivers and rivers. We have the same philosophy, so we are partners. I think this guy is very appetizing. Sabo, who was disguised as an ordinary businessman, looked at Chen Fang, and his eyes became more intense. So cold, everyone began to tremble. In such a short time, the temperature of the entire venue suddenly dropped. The cold air is centered on Akiji, and it continuously radiates to the surroundings. I said Akiji Admiral. As you have seen, he wanted to die by himself, and I didn't insist on killing him. I really just want to do a good job in this auction and give benefits to my friends from all over the world. I don't dare to conflict with you. Why don't you stay calm and sit down to participate in the auction? Anyway, the people are gone, and you don't like them very much. It's okay to deal with them later. Looking at Akiji, who was about to go crazy, Chen Fang just turned slightly to look at him. The corners of his mouth still had a confident arc, and he spread his hands, telling everyone present that he was serious about auctions. Ice halberd. The answer to Chen Fang was a full and empty ice spear. Without waiting for Chen Fang to speak again, the icy spear, flying all over the sky, like an arrow leaving the string, went straight towards Chen Fang at a speed invisible to the naked eye. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of impact is endless. Soon, Chen Fang was submerged in the ice spear, and his figure was no longer visible. Marine Admiral's attack was so terrifying that everyone gasped when they saw it. The ice spear that fell on the floor directly smashed the floor into a big hole. It was easy to imagine what kind of blood flow would be like if the ice spear hit them. But after the series of events just now, no one judged Chen Fang by ordinary people. Really? Boom! With an explosion, the ice spear that submerged Chen Fang instantly shattered, sending out towards the surroundings. Hey, Marine Admiral is also a good customer. No way. For the sake of order, I can only quiet you down first. Chen Fang sighed, as if very sorry. While talking to himself, he was telling everyone, the order here, whether it is Celestial Dragons or Marine Admiral, cannot be violated. No way. Even Marine Admiral is not his opponent. Is this casual with Marine Admiral? Everyone present clearly understood the meaning of Chen Fang's words. This casual tone symbolized his arrogance, while also telling everyone that he possessed such strength. The blow was invalid, and Akiji's face remained unchanged. After the previous blow, he already knew that Chen Fang was not as weak as he imagined. Frozen moment. Be quiet. Akiji wanted to continue fighting, but Chen Fang no longer gave him a chance to continue. Chen Fang raised his hand above the stands, and suddenly an icicle fell from the sky, covering Akiji's entire body in an instant, turning him into a humanoid ice sculpture. What's this wave called? It's not called self-indulgence. Chen Fang smiled and waved his hand again, and the ice sculpture of Akiji floated in the corner of the venue following the direction of his wave. The situation reversed in an instant, and everyone present was stunned. That's the end? This is Marine Admiral. It is rumored that Akiji can freeze a piece of sea area. Why was he frozen? What kind of strange ability does this young man have? The people at the venue were discussing in one go. After all this, Chen Fang's status in their eyes was completely different. Whitebeard, Doflamingo, and other powerhouses also looked at Chen Fang with awe-inspiring expressions. Before they came, All of them thought that they were the ones who planned the strategy, but now, things were different from what they imagined. Brat, Akiji was accused. Garp's expression became serious instantly. The weapon was blessed by Haki, and his fist became as black as ink. The legendary Marine hero is about to make a move, someone excitedly said. Vice Admiral Garp, if I were you, I would sit down and participate in the auction. What if there is something your Marine needs? Akiji Admiral has already been observed as a sculpture. Do you want all of you Marines to be on the sidelines as decorations in my auction house? Chen Fang looked at Garp. His eyes were playful, and his wrist was shaking slightly. Those who just pay attention to details will find that when Akiji is frozen, Chen Fang's wrist also shakes like this. Garp was silent for a while, and then his usual big grin appeared on his face, and the fist that seemed to be able to break everything also returned to normal. Forget it, people are already dead anyway, and Akiji won't freeze to death. Let's auction it off first. Okay, it's finally time to officially start. Chen Fang let out a breath. Everyone, let's forget about the unpleasantness just now, and let me introduce the rules of the auction to you. Chen Fang's resonant voice resounded throughout the auction house, and everyone fell silent. Chapter 6 Fire Unicorn Shocks the Pirate World. First auction in my Tiantian auction house. If you want to get the auction item, you only need to pay resource points. The easiest exchange method is 10,000 berries and a little resource point. Of course, famous knives, ores, devil fruit, and other valuable things can be exchanged for resource points here. I will give you the most reasonable price. This kind of resource point is not only convenient for everyone, but also a rule given to him by the system. Chen Fang can get commissions and reward from the system through the resource points obtained through auction. Resource point, this is the first time I've heard of this kind of thing, but it seems to be quite convenient, as it happens that I don't have much money with me. Haha, you can also exchange things for something. This auction will be a bit interesting. After Chen Fang explained concisely, everyone expressed no opinion. Okay, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and put on the lot. After this series of episodes, after realizing Chen Fang's strength, everyone looked forward to this auction even more. The gold content of an auction held by such a powerful person is different. Okay, then as everyone wishes, the first lot will be listed. As he spoke, Chen Fang looked at Xiao Bai, who was only visible to him. At this time, he was also a little excited. This was the first lot he had crossed over, and he also wanted to know what it was. After receiving Chen Fang's order, Xiao Bai in midair turned into a question mark box and threw it to Chen Fang. Of course, in the eyes of others, this box just appeared in Chen Fang's hand suddenly. The moment Chen Fang received the box, he knew what it was. Blood Bodhi. Information about Blood Bodhi also appeared in Chen Fang's mind. It really is a good thing. Chen Fang was secretly delighted. Of course, if the system is produced, it must be a high-quality product. Xiao Bai beside him said proudly. The people invited were all these big names, and Chen Fang was worried that the auction would not attract them. The first item was a fetish like the Blood Bodhi, which was considered a bit of a sideshow. What is this? Looking at the fiery red beads in the box in Chen Fang's hand, someone raised doubts. This is Blood Bodhi. According to legend, the fire unicorn was born on the ground dripping with blood. If you are seriously injured, as long as you have a breath, you will be alive and alive in an instant when you eat it, and your strength will double. People who have nothing to do eat it, and their strength will increase significantly. And without any side effects, it is definitely a holy medicine for healing, relieving pain, and enhancing strength. In his own auction house, Chen Fang's tone was full of rendering power, which immediately aroused everyone's desire to buy. Of course, more people are puzzled. Shweb Bodhi, Fire Kylan, have you heard of it? Sabo asked the people beside him. Garp Whitebeard and others also showed doubts on their faces. Even veteran powerhouses like them have never heard of such a thing. Although the sea is huge, there are all kinds of wonders. Such strange creatures as dragons and unicorns will exist. But after all, they have been sailing the sea for many years, and they have no clue about Fire Kylan and Blood Bodhi. Boy, I've never heard of this thing. and even my father doesn't have any impression you kid can't use these junk things to deceive us, then you have to think about it. Marco, who looked unattractive beside Whitebeard, snorted coldly. After Chen Fang's introduction, he has a strong interest in blood bodhi. There is no other reason, just because of the therapeutic effect. Whitebeard has been fighting for many years. Although his strength is unparalleled, he has fought countless times and suffered from many hidden diseases. If this blood bodhi is really useful, it will help him a lot. Yeah, if there's such a good thing, someone must be looking for it. Why hasn't anyone heard of it for so long? Someone echoed. For questioning, the corners of Chen Fang's mouth still maintained that smirk. It wasn't a product of this world in the first place, and it would be strange if someone knew it. Everyone, don't be impatient. Please watch the big screen. Chen Fang waved his hand, and a huge screen appeared behind him. Roar. A huge beast roar resounded throughout the hall. The Huakailin, whose body was covered with hot flames, appeared in front of everyone. The scorching flames seemed to be burning even the air, and the gleaming fire armor seemed to be able to try everything. Even across the screen, everyone was deeply shocked by it. The fire unicorn in the picture leaps 1,000 feet, spitting out raging flames from its mouth. A giant Buddha made of rocks was directly burned to ashes by the flames. Then there was a picture of the fire unicorn fighting the strong. The fire unicorn was invulnerable, and the opponent burned himself in flames after touching a little flame. All eyes were straightened. It's so powerful. This fire unicorn is simply unrivaled. Someone exclaimed, Ace, can your fire instantly turn rocks into ashes? Marco asked, Ace curiously in the White Tiger Pirates. Ace didn't answer, but looked at the screen more firmly, and from time to time, fire flashed out. Seeing everyone's reactions, Chen Fang nodded secretly. The video edited by the system, while based on facts, also magnifies the power of Fire Unicorn. After all, this is the world of One Piece, and it still needs to be adapted to some extent. The video will end soon. After watching the video, everyone gasped and praised the strength of the Fire Unicorn. Everyone has seen it too. This is the Fire Kylan, and this blood bodhi is transformed from his blood. As for the curative effect, I can guarantee that if I exaggerate even a little bit, I will pay you back 10 times. This is my first auction, and there will be countless more in the future. You are all well-known figures in the sea. I don't want to destroy my integrity. That being said, if you really don't believe me, just wait and see. The starting price for this blood bodhi is 10,000 resource points, and the price will increase by no less than 1,000 points each time. Everyone, you can start. 16,000 points. As soon as Chen Fang finished speaking, Doflamingo's voice came out directly. Young master, what if? A retainer next to Doflamingo couldn't help persuading. Doflamingo bid directly without saying anything, obviously believing Chen Fang. There are only a few Baileys. If this thing is really as good as he said, as long as the power of this thing is researched, it will be of great benefit to my plan. Doflamingo smiled wickedly, his eyes fixed on the box in Chen Fang's hand. What does a Shichibukai want this thing for? The old man takes this thing back, and that guy Sengoku shouldn't accuse me of the celestial dragons. This is a good thing for cultivating new powers. Garp picked out his nostrils, looked at Doflamingo, and said disdainfully, and then raised his hand. 17,000 points. 18,000 points. Sabo followed suit. The opening is more than 10,000. That is 100 million Baileys. Even if many people are greedy, they can only stay away. The only ones who can make a bid are the big forces. Garp couldn't help looking at Sabo, who was no different from an ordinary businessman. Why does it look familiar? Forget it, I will take this thing. Garp turned his head to look at the stage and raised his hand again, 19,000 points. Sabo, the price is too high. If this is a scam, someone besides Sabo said. The Revolutionary Army has always kept a low profile, and the accumulation of wealth is limited, and it must be used in key places. I think this interesting guy is not lying to us. This kind of healing relic is indispensable for us, Sabo said firmly. Compared with the doubts of most people present, they are more inclined to believe Chen Fang. 20,000 points. Chapter 7 Devil Fruit without side effects. Dead Bone Pulse. Wow, the Whitebeard pirates are here too. I didn't expect it to be so intense from the beginning. Who will this blood Bodhi end up with? Don't they suspect? Who are they? If this guy dares to lie to them, he is making an enemy of the entire sea. I think what this guy said is true. Those who couldn't participate in the auction were discussing excitedly one by one at this time. This excitement is also quite exciting. Marco's eyes were burning like a torch, and his tone was sonorous and powerful, showing his determination to win. Jaz and the others also understood Marco's thoughts. In an instant, the Whitebeard pirates showed their determination to take it. Some other wealthy forces who wanted to fight for it were suddenly bluffed, and they all weakly withdrew their hands at this time. 23,000 points. Doflamingo is naturally not among them. Looking in the direction of the Whitebeard bandits, the corners of Doflamingo's mouth curved even more strangely, and there was a red light in his eyes. He was also bound to win. Garp didn't say much and raised his hand in a lazy state, and he also had no intention of giving up. 26,000 points. Sabo was also not to be outdone. Damn it, Marco shouted, and then he was about to raise his hand. Okay, Marco, I know my body. It's not something that can be solved by these things. Let's wait and see the next lot. Maybe there will be more interesting things in the future. Whitebeard stopped Marco, who wanted to continue bidding. His body is full of chronic illnesses, coupled with his advanced age. In fact, a blood Bodhi can solve it. These people are happy to grab it, so let them grab it. When Dad spoke, Marco and the others had no choice but to give up. 30,000 points. Doflamingo immediately followed suit, his tone revealing his impatience. It is no exaggeration to describe it as rich and powerful. The moment the price was raised, the atmosphere in the room became quiet. Sabo frowned. He really wanted blood Bodhi very much, but he was really short of money. This time I came here to investigate the situation. How could I bring so much money? Not to mention that they are not that rich. Forget it. Forget it. The death of St. Charlos is a foregone conclusion. If there is no such thing, nothing can be redeemed. Let's talk about it. Garp murmured indifferently. You just don't have that much money, a general next to Garp complained. Tell you to talk too much. A pustule immediately appeared on the general's head. Is there anyone with a higher bid? This is a good thing. Seeing that there were no more bids, Chen Fang deliberately took a second look at Sabo and Garp. But both of them gave Chen Fang an angry look. If you want money, you have to say it. The first time at 30,000 points, the second time at 30,000 points, and the third time at 30,000 points. Make a deal. Chen Fang struck the mallet. Doflamingo didn't procrastinate at all and directly sent someone to bring the money up. A transaction volume of 30,000 points appeared in Chen Fang's system instantly. Doflamingo got the blood Bodhi, and everyone looked at him expectantly. Now is the time to prove the effect, but Doflamingo has no intention of showing it to everyone and put it away directly after getting it back. Everyone could only look away in disappointment, but immediately their expressions became exciting again. Next is the second lot. I believe everyone is familiar with it. When sending out the blood Bodhi, Chen Fang had already brought the second lot from Xiao Bai. This is devil fruit. It seems to be, but it seems a little different. There's nothing unusual about devil fruit. I thought there were some rare things here. Looking at the strangely shaped fruit in Chen Fang's hands, most people thought it was a devil fruit. However, those present were all high-ranking officials, dignitaries, or overlords of the sea. In the eyes of outsiders, the very rare devil fruit was no surprise to them. A lot of people were even a little disappointed, like Garp and Hawkeye. They are powerful, and devil fruit is even a burden to them. I believe everyone has some guesses in their hearts, but if you think this is devil fruit, then you are very wrong. Chen Fang naturally knew what these people were thinking. The first time he saw it, he thought it was devil fruit. This is just a reasonable explanation for the lot that the system gives abilities. Chen Fang waved his finger at the crowd in the audience, smiling at the corner of his mouth. This is the product of my Tian Auction House, and I call it a sacred fruit. Just like devil fruit, as long as you eat it, you can get strange abilities. Of course, since it is called a sacred fruit, there must be something different. If you eat my sacred fruit, there will be no side effects. To put it more bluntly, sea stone and sea water will not bind you at all. Wow, speaking of this, all the people who were disdainful or uninterested before all gave admiration. Both Garp and Hawkeye also looked at Chen Fang, showing interest. Only demon fruit power, just watching from the sidelines. Everyone, don't worry, I haven't finished yet. What I said has no side effects, including people who have eaten devil fruit. No matter who they are, they can eat my sacred fruit, and they can eat it in unlimited quantities. As soon as these words came out, the audience was in an uproar. Demon fruit powers, the eyes are all shining brightly. After eating devil fruit, they can only continue to cooperate with devil fruit's ability to exercise. But now, this can give them an extra ability for no reason, which will definitely double the growth of their strength. President, what kind of ability is this fruit? Someone asked impatiently, showing even more respect to Chen Fang. The others also looked forward to it. The corner of Chen Fang's mouth curled slightly, revealing a little complacency, which was exactly the effect he wanted. Okay, let's not talk nonsense. Please watch the big screen. The big screen lights up again, showing the battle between Kamehameha and Uchiha Sasuke. Please pay attention to this person with bone spurs on his body. This is exactly the ability of this fruit, Dead Bone Pulse. As the name suggests, this is the ability to freely manipulate the bones of the whole body. As long as it is related to bones, such as osteoblasts, osteoclasts, calcium concentration, etc., they can be manipulated without restriction. And extremely hard. It is the sharpest spear when attacking and the hardest shield when defending. And it can also give you the healing ability to quickly heal trauma. Along with the playback of the video, Chen Fang explained with emotion. Although the battle between the two in the screen is not too gorgeous, after systematic editing and adaptation, the ability of Dead Bone Pulse is perfectly displayed to the fullest. Every time Kamehameha makes a shot in the screen, everyone present has a clearer understanding of this ability. The screen ended soon. With such a clear display and Chen Fang's explanation, everyone understood the ability of Dead Bone Pulse, especially the increase of this ability to physical skills. As soon as the picture ended, the luster in the eyes of these people was no less than that of Blood Bodhi. The starting price is 10,000 points, and each bidding price must not be lower than 1,000 points. Chen Fang smiled satisfied and waited for the price to rise. Chapter 8 Auction Rules. I, Chen Fang, have the final say. This ability suits me so well. With it, I will be more comprehensive and truly integrate offense and defense. Ja's eyes shone brightly. In the moment he watched the video, he knew that this ability was born for him. His shiny fruit ability can bring him unsolvable defense, but it also focuses too much on defense. In terms of attack, it is slightly weaker. And now, with Dead Bone Pulse, his attacking shortcomings will be fully made up for. At that time, his strength will undergo a qualitative change. Shoot it with all your strength. Whitebeard didn't say much and said lightly from the side, "Thank you, Dad." Ja smiled, and after getting Whitebeard's affirmation, he didn't have any worries. 13,000 points. Ja's added 3,000 points at once, just to catch people off guard. However, this kind of auction trick did not play any role at this time. People who are interested in Dead Bone Pulse even surpassed the previous Blood Bodhi. The effect of Blood Bodhi is invisible and intangible, but now, through the video, everyone clearly understands the power of Dead Bone Pulse. And after the photo is taken, you can take it immediately to check the effect, so you don't have to be afraid of being cheated. The fruit without any side effects is interesting. Doflamingo also whispered, but in the same way, he also looked at the other big forces present. Although he was very interested, he had just bought Blood Bodhi, and the funds he brought were limited, so he resolutely chose to give up and did not participate in this competition. This is a good thing, very suitable for the old man. Garp smiled and directly raised his hand to signal the price increase. Vice Admiral, haven't you always disdained the fruit ability? A soldier beside Garp wondered. I disdain devil fruit. I don't want to be a landlubber. Didn't he say that? This thing is a sacred fruit and has no side effects. I must take it down. Garp said angrily. He is also quite clear in his heart that relying on his own strength, he is already at the top level of this sea, and after reaching this level, it is already difficult to reach the sky if he wants to improve again. He is also reluctant to eat devil fruit, which creates a dilemma. And now, the sacred fruit just solved Garp's current situation. Although he usually has a lazy attitude, he has never given up his desire for strength. This dead bone pulse is a step to take his strength to a higher level, and he must win it. My hawk, this doesn't have any side effects, so you should be interested too? After opening the price, Garp said tentatively to Hawkeye not far away, I practice swordsmanship. This ability is useless to me. I want to see if the hair on this bone is hard or my knife is sharp. My hawk said in a low voice, without showing any interest. Garp breathed a sigh of relief. This time he lost a big competitor. 15,000 points. Sabo bid next. Sabo, have we overtaken them? Koala next to Sabo said a little unconfidently. Never mind, try it first. Dead bone pulse is also useful for us. 16,000 points. At this moment, a voice came from another area in the venue. It is from the Big Mom Pirate Group. This thing is a bit interesting. Mom may be interested. Katakuri said coldly. The Big Mom Pirate Group is extremely powerful, and Dead Bone Pulse can not only improve its strength, but also because Big Mom is interested in these strange things. After buying it back, even if it is not eaten by others, it can be collected. You brat under Lin Lin, you really don't respect your elders at all. Whitebeard smiled disdainfully. Jaws, since you want it, then we must get it. Kiatzi's eyes were fixed, and he raised his hand to increase the price without hesitation. Of course, they are not the only ones who want to compete for it. Several other big forces have also shown their ambitions. Soon, the price of Dead Bone Pulse broke through 20,000 points. And until this time, the trend of bidding has not stopped. It's amazing, it's definitely big news, and this time it's really the right time. Quick, keep raising the price, keep going. Morgans did not intend to participate in the bidding at all, but kept writing and writing, carefully recording a wonderful auction, and also hoped that this bidding would be more intense. The one who had the same idea was naturally Chen Fang on the platform. Seeing the red-faced faces of this group of people robbing each other, Chen Fang was overjoyed. This start is very good. 25,000 points. I want this from the Big Mom Pirates. Please consider it carefully. Katakuri was getting impatient after asking the price, and his cold voice filled the venue. For a moment, some of the big powers who were scrambling for red eyes really quieted down. This blatant threat still made them somewhat apprehensive. Little pirate, it's ridiculous. Even if Charlotte Linlin came in person, it's useless. I want this thing. 26,000 points. Garp looked at the extremely cold Katakuri and taunted him directly. No matter how terrifying the aura of these guys, they turn a blind eye in front of his marine hero Garp. It's just a general. Dare to say harsh words here. Tell Big Mom to come in person. But it's really useless to come. Jaws also disdained to speak. If you can threaten others, where can you threaten them? The Whitebeard Bandits. Katakuri is the most powerful fighting force of the Big Mom Pirates other than Big Mom, and only the Whitebeard Pirates and Vice Admiral Garp dare to confront him. I didn't expect them to go to this point for a piece of auction. Yeah, it's probably only a few of them fighting. Even if the others snatch it, if they do it, they don't seem to have the ability to resist. All of a sudden, the voice of bidding disappeared instantly, and Katakuri's threat still had a great effect. The other spectators also chattered and chatted, eating melons happily. Snapped. At this moment, a crisp applause resounded through the auction hall. Chen Fang's figure disappeared from the stage at some point, and he slapped Katakuri's face with a slap. Accompanied by that, Katakuri's entire body flew upside down and landed heavily on the ground. Without so much competition, the prize will definitely be affected, and Chen Fang is not happy all of a sudden. Katakuri disrupted the bidding order. This time I will only give a small punishment. Next time, no matter who it is, I will kill it. The terrifying aura suppressed the audience, and the amiable Chen Fang, who was looked at last second, was just like a devil from hell, which made people shudder. All of a sudden, the whole venue was quiet again. Ow, how is it possible? Chapter 9, Shocking the Four Emperor's Pirates. Double Fruit ability. Katakuri's eyes widened. It had been a long, long time since such a thing had happened to him. His observation haki is clearly powerful enough to foresee the short future. However, at the moment when Chen Fang attacked him just now, he did not expect any attack at all. I think I need to emphasize again to everyone that this is my auction house, and in my territory, threats to other buyers are not allowed, let alone robbery. I don't care what you do outside. Anyway, in my Tiantian auction house, everyone is equal. If you want to get the goods, you have to bid. The next moment, Chen Fang returned to the auction table. Everything happened between lightning and flint, but no one can ignore what happened in this instant. First to control Marine Admiral, and then to instantly blow away the second strongest member of the Big Mom Pirates. The tone and content of Chen Fang's words now are indeed very arrogant. In other auctions, no one has ever dared to say such words. However, no one has expressed any doubts now, and the major pirates and the major ruthless forces have chosen to remain silent. This is strength. That's right, the auction house just needs to have some rules, and those who don't understand the rules, just drive them out. Anyway, Garp didn't think it was a big deal to watch the excitement, and said with a smile on the side. Everyone in the Big Mom pirate group showed anger on their faces, and they were all ready to fight. They didn't care how luxurious Chen Fang's previous record was. On this sea, as long as you provoke them, they will destroy each other regardless of everything. The dignified Four Emperors pirate group, how could they be frightened by the president of an auction house? Interesting. Doflamingo looked like he was watching the show, and his mouth was about to grin above the corner of his eyes. He really is a master who is not afraid of death. Rayleigh, who had been watching the scene, twitched his lips slightly. He hadn't seen this kind of young man for a long time. First kill the celestial dragons, completely offending the world government. It's okay not to rely on the powerful pirate group now, and simply offend the Big Mom pirate group again. Judging by Chen Fang's posture, he didn't pay attention to everyone at all, so he couldn't offend the whole sea. This is even braver than they were back then. Not to mention strength. Just this courage is enough to attract Pluton Rayleigh's attention. As for what these people think, Chen Fang really doesn't know. Anyway, in this place, he is invincible. He is the embodiment of rules. If he is not arrogant at this time, it will be later. Besides, this is to establish rules for the auction house, which is also good for future order. It's time for Lin Lin to teach his children some truths. Whitebeard also said beside him, "Forget it. That fat woman is a lunatic herself, and she still teaches others." Garp turned his head to look at Whitebeard again, and said with a smile on his face, "The dignified Four Emperors, being teased by the two, the people around couldn't help but hold back their laughter." Katakuri's entire face turned red. First he was slapped by Chen Fang, and now he is still ridiculed by these two people. He simply didn't take their Big Mom seriously. "Brother, as long as you give an order, we will do it immediately." "Forget it. Let's talk about it after participating in the auction." Katakuri spoke coldly. The anger was real, but he still couldn't see the situation clearly. One is the top combat power of Marine. One is the Whitebeard Pirates. And the other is the weird young man who just killed the celestial dragons and can attack him without him noticing. No matter who it is, it's not easy to mess with. If we really fight, we may not get any benefits. Okay, the auction continues. Seeing that Katakuri was still a little smart, Chen Fang ignored him. 30,000 points. After the confusion, Kiatsi immediately offered a high price again. 30,000 points, that was the previous transaction price of Blood Bodhi. After reaching this price, no one dares to sell easily anymore. After the threat of the Big Mom Pirates was lifted, most people were hesitant to face this price. 31,000 points. The price reached a new high, and Garp couldn't help but gritted his teeth at this time. He is just a Marine Vice Admiral. Even if he has accumulated a lot of wealth, he is not as fast as a pirate before he arrives. 35,000 points. This time Whitebeard directly bid without any pause. "Whitebeard, do you have such an asking price?" Garp growled angrily. Hey, what do you call me? Whoever has the most money gets it." Whitebeard smiled smugly. 36,000 points. Garp secretly clenched his fists. No matter how strong the enemy is, he will not have such emotions. However, When faced with what he wanted now, he found that he was short of money, and Garp's expression became grim. This price has reached his limit. Vice Admiral Garp, we don't have that many Baileys. The general next to Garp reminded Garp in a low voice. Dead bone pulse. I am bound to win. Garp clenched his fists, his tone firm. 40,000. Again without any pause, Whitebeard's rich voice came out again. There was an uproar in the audience. This is 40,000 resource points at once, and only these top powers can take them out at will. Garp turned his head and looked at Whitebeard fiercely, gnashing his teeth but couldn't say a word. This price is really hard for a hero. 40,000 for the first-time deal. In the midst of sighs and discussions and Garp's resentful eyes, Chen Fang threw the box to Jaws. Everyone looked over, but they didn't see the effect of the blood bodhi, so this sacred fruit should be seen carefully. Jaws didn't mind, took the fruit, and swallowed it in 2 bites. Aye, so delicious. After Kiatsi finished eating, his eyes were full of surprise. Having eaten devil fruit, he originally thought that the taste of this sacred fruit would be so disgusting, but he did not expect this taste to be so delicious. Finished. I don't know if it will work. Diamond Joe's ate this fruit. Will he change his name in the future? The others also looked at Jaws curiously. On the one hand, they wanted to see the magical power of the dead bone pulse. And more, they wanted to test the auction house's items. After eating the devil fruit, the ability user can also eat another fruit, which is simply unprecedented. How do you feel? Ace also asked curiously at this time. It's great. Jaws' eyes were full of joy. After eating the fruit, he had already fully felt the magical power. As he spoke, several bone spurs grew out of his body. Enough is enough. If you come out again, you will become a hedgehog. In an instant, the people around Jaws scattered in all directions, and this one accidentally got pierced through the body. It's so dangerous, I was almost stabbed to death by you. The fire flashed on Ace's body, and the pierced body instantly recovered. Normal physical attacks are ineffective against Logia Demon Fruit power without armament hockey attached. Ha ha! I'm sorry. Jaws waved his hand at Ace, with a bright smile on his face, extremely happy. Chapter 10 Dragon Ball World. The Power of Ki. Kamapai Kigong, it's true. Next time there is something like this, I must take a picture of it. It's amazing, this auction house is awesome. The Heavens Auction House, dare to call this name. There is indeed something. In an instant, rave reviews. The next one will definitely be photographed. The corners of Garp's mouth couldn't help thinking. Looking at Chen Fang on the auction stage, his eyes became more enthusiastic. After Jaws' display, no one doubted the authenticity of the lot. Everyone cast excited eyes on Chen Fang, and the expectation value suddenly rose to the peak. Even Rayleigh, who only planned to watch the fun, had a look of anticipation in his eyes. Okay, next is our third lot. It is also the last lot of our entire auction. Kamehameha Kigong Wave Cultivation Method. Chen Fang struck while the iron was hot and immediately took out the last auction item. Kamehameha Kigong Wave? What is this? It sounds like a physical technique. Compared with the previous two, it doesn't seem to be very brilliant. What? I thought the last thing was something wonderful and peerless, but I didn't expect it to be a trick. Kamehameha Kigong Wave. The name doesn't sound very good. If you really want to sell any tricks, it's better to sell Marine 6 styles. That's Marine's secret skill. How can ordinary people get it? As soon as they heard that it was a trick, everyone felt as if they had been poured cold water on it. After the previous two precious auction items, everyone thought that the last one would be even more stunning. Trick? It's so ordinary. Hey, President, don't you have nothing good? Just use something to perfuse us. Someone questioned it. Don't be impatient, everyone, the old rules. Chen Fang still maintained a confident smile and pointed to the big screen behind him. In the picture, there is an old man with a rickety appearance. Opposite him was a huge orangutan, which was destroying the buildings on the side with impunity. It was obviously a monster. People around were fleeing in all directions. Only this old man, who seemed to be blown down by a gust of wind, was really motionless. The muscles on the old man's body erupted instantly, and a hot light began to bloom from his hands. Curdle, Pai Kigong boom. With the roar, this hot light burst out instantly. Just exterminate a gorilla. What's so great about it? It's just a little bit of light, and there's nothing special about it. Looking at this picture, someone couldn't help complaining. But the next moment, these people immediately shut up. I saw that the scorching light did not shoot at the angry gorilla, but went straight into the sky. The goal is nothing but the bright moon that day. The picture processed by the system continued to extend until the light broke through the sky directly, came to the universe, and finally went straight to the moon. Boom! The moment it came into contact with it, the light exploded, and some people present couldn't even open their eyes under the light. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and a planet suspended in the universe exploded like this. The rest are just some broken pieces. After the moon is broken, the scene turns to the interior of the Earth. The bright moon in the sky has disappeared, and the angry gorilla has become a little monkey king. The scene of the moon exploding still haunts everyone's mind. Shock! But the picture didn't stop there, and then the system sorted out the picture of Monkey King learning Kamehameha Kigong Wave. When son Wukong grew up and became the Super Saiyan God, a Kamehameha Kigong Wave almost destroyed the entire universe. The trick, like a falling meteor, is deeply engraved in everyone's heart. The pictures in this video are like huge waves, shaking people's hearts wave after wave. Too strong, a retainer next to Doflamingo exclaimed. And Doflamingo's smile froze on his face, obviously shocked too. Even Whitebeard Garp, this kind of combat power ceiling, is also panting heavily, unable to calm down for a long time. Everyone knows that Whitebeard Shock Fruit has the power to overwhelm mountains and seas. Destroying a mountain peak or an island is nothing more than a breeze. However, now this is not a matter of a mountain and an island, but a planet, a universe. If this is practiced to ultimate, wouldn't it be invincible? Not to mention these people. Even Chen Fang wanted to keep Kamehameha Kigong when he saw this scene. Of course, he also knows that it is impossible for people in One Piece world to cultivate to the level of a Super Saiyan God like Monkey King. However, Sun Wukong's journey of cultivation directly gave everyone hope. There is still something to look forward to after reaching the level of Gue Xianren. Likewise, this also proves the value of Kamehameha Kigong. This is no longer an ordinary move. It is simply a weapon, a nuclear weapon. Marine must get it. Garp clenched his fist secretly. If this thing is obtained by other big forces, it will be a threat to Marine. Father, we must take this too. Someone in the Whitebeard Pirates also said. Forget it. The money I brought this time has been used up. This kind of thing depends on the individual's cultivation. We don't force it. Whitebeard waved his hand, recovering from the shock. Although Kamehameha Kigong Bow is strong, it is still a trick after all. As long as it is a trick, it needs talent to train. Not everyone who holds it will have the effect of breaking the moon. Brother, this time it must be taken. Katakuri didn't talk too much harshly and put aside his grievances with Chen Fang for the time being. At this time, he needed Kamehameha Kigong even more. Everyone looked at Chen Fang enthusiastically, and their desire for Kamehameha Kigong Wave was greater than any previous lot. After all, if it is really practiced, it will be comparable to or even surpass the destructive power of the Four Emperors level. Why didn't this auction house exist back then? How can I have so much money now? Rayleigh couldn't help complaining. This I wanted. A pair of eyes in the crowd were shining with golden light. Gilder Tetsolo had a strong interest in the previous auctions. However, after those big forces made their moves, he still chose to forbear. Although he was rich, he was afraid that things would not belong to him after leaving the auction house. Although his strength is strong, he is still a long way from Four Emperors. However, this Turtle Pie Kigong Wave suddenly made him see obvious hope. The starting price is 20,000 resource points, and each bidding price must not be lower than 1,000. In everyone's anticipation, Chen Fang finally announced the start. 25,000, 26,000, 30,000. The bidding sounded one after another, and the whole scene became more lively than ever before. 40,000. Sabo shot again. This level of destructive power is also indispensable for the Revolutionary Army. Even if he was short of money, Sabo would go all out. 45,000 points. Katakuri was also not to be outdone. 50,000 points. Garp followed closely behind. This is something related to Marine's combat power. He doesn't need to pay for it himself, and the asking price has become more free and easy. 100,000. Chapter 11, the auction is over. Eternal Mangeki Sharingan. Sage body Gilder Tezulo's body glowed with golden light, and his tone was firm. Before, he didn't ask for a price, just waited for the price to be higher, and then went straight to his soul. To him, money is just a number. He didn't even bother to participate in small troubles. As long as he wanted to, he could easily win these 3 lots. Now that he has made up his mind, he is no longer low-key. It's the Golden Emperor. Someone recognized it at a glance. No wonder he dared to shout so high. It turned out to be him. 100,000 resource points. Only he can pay for it. It's so loud all of a sudden. I guess no one can take a picture. Tezulo owns 20% of the Baileys in the world. Using the power of money, he could do both black and white. He can even manipulate celestial dragons to use the power of the world government. In the underground world, he is the Golden Emperor who uses money to rule the dark world, and his influence is also all over the world. Compared with the 4 emperors, his strength is far behind, but in terms of money, no single force in the world can compare with him. Therefore, it is called Golden Emperor. Has this guy finally made a move? Isn't it because of the awakening of the golden fruit ability to make a fortune? Someone couldn't help but feel sour. Josie, look at him. You don't need to think about the price when you wake up the fruit ability. When you wake up, you will be richer than him. He is just gold, but you are a diamond. Ace raised an eyebrow at Josie. Do you think I don't want him? Joss said angrily. Once such a sky-high price was announced, apart from scattered discussions, there was no one asking for a price. Katakuri just gave Tezulo a hard look, but didn't say anything more. This time he came out in a hurry, and he didn't bring so much money with him. Sabo can only sigh secretly. It's hard to be a man without money. The people who came to the auction this time were just to watch and didn't bring much money at all. 100,000? Is there a higher one? At this price, Chen Fang was quite satisfied, but he still exaggerated it. Garp struggled for a moment and was about to raise his hand. The general on the side rushed up and pressed it down. Vice Admiral Garp, no more. We simply don't have that much money. Didn't you say that you can exchange it with items? Give him one of the warships. Garp's brain became hot. Vice Admiral, the warship may be worth so much money, but our opponent is Tezulo this. The general couldn't help reminding. Garp also looked at the glittering Tezulo at this time, and after hesitating for a while, he had no choice but to give up. Bidding against Tezulo and selling naval headquarters would not be enough. Since no one has bid higher, this Kamapai Kigong both belongs to our Golden Emperor. Seeing that there was no bid, Chen Fang directly and decisively hammered the hammer. President, do you have a side door here? After the photo was taken, Tezuo walked directly onto the stage, and while holding the cheat book, he asked Chen Fang in a low voice. Everyone is innocent, but pregnant is guilty. There is Chen Fang in this auction house to maintain order. No one dares to sell, but after going out, maybe it will be. Now that you've got what you want, sneak away quickly. If you need it, of course. Facing the big client, Chen Fang still greeted him with a smile, and with a wave of his hand, he appeared behind the secret side door. Tezuo didn't hesitate and ran away at the fastest speed. This is the end of the auction. You can leave on your own. The next auction will be in the near future, and you will still receive invitations. Chen Fang ignored Tezuo, raised his head, and said to all the participants. Then he waved his hand casually in the direction of Akiji, and the ice cube trapped on Akiji disappeared instantly. If you still want to continue to trouble me, now I have time to play with you. Chen Fang looked in the direction of Akiji and Marine. Akiji, let's go back and report first. I just want to tell you about the auction. I could see and hear it just now, so I don't need to say it again. Akiji snorted coldly, turned his head, and walked out. Not to mention that Chen Fang trapped him. Although he couldn't move in the ice, he could fully perceive what was happening outside. This method is appalling. That's it. Garp glanced at Chen Fang in surprise, then turned and left without saying anything more. of the three lots. One was more peculiar than the other, which made everyone present feel unsatisfied. A lot of people kept asking Chen Fang when the next time will start and what will be next time. Chen Fang dealt with it a bit, and the venue finally became quiet. It's finally over. It's time to settle. Chen Fang excitedly looked at Xiao Bai, who was floating in midair. Congratulations to host. This auction won a total of 190,000 resource points. Rewards eternal Manjiki Sharingan, Sage Body, and 90,000 resource points. Host can use resource points to exchange desired materials in the auction house. As Xiao Bai's voice fell, Chen Fang felt his body in a trance for a while, and then he felt this magical power. Sharingan. Chen Fang opened his eyes suddenly, and the originally bright eyeballs began to form complex patterns. At a glance, it was as if he saw the endless universe, the sky full of stars. Those star-like eyeballs exude a purple light, which is gorgeous and mysterious. Powerful. Chen Fang only felt stronger than ever. Amaterasu, Fisu. All he needs is a thought, and they can appear instantly. And the impact on itself is very small, unlike in Hokage. Then, Chen Fang's body shook, and his whole body began to emit red light. Sage Body. With a flick of Chen Fang's legs, his whole body instantly rose from the ground and hit the ceiling directly. Within the auction house, Chen Fang can use the rules to do anything. But this time, it was completely out of his own ability. Ahem, not proficient, not proficient. Chen Fang smiled awkwardly. Although no one else was there, it was indeed a little embarrassing for Xiao Bai to watch from the sidelines. With 2 god-tier skills in hand, Chen Fang is truly confident now. There's still so many resource points, it's time to go shopping. Chen Fang excitedly opened them all. A dazzling array of products are simply mouth-watering, ultra instinct, all kinds of sacred fruits. Only unexpected, there is no shortage of goods. But when he saw the price, Chen Fang could only sigh. Even if 190,000 was given to him, it would not be enough to exchange for a top-level one. But for now, he doesn't need these for the time being. After browsing for a while, Chen Fang chose a wood style and a method of training combat skills. Just these 2 have already spent all of its shares. The next step is to practice. With a thought in Chen Fang's mind, the originally magnificent auction house instantly turned into a martial arts training ground. Chapter 12 Vibration Grand Line. Attention from all over the world. The things auctioned by Tiantian Auction House are special, and they're among the top auction houses in the world. The president of the Tiantian Auction House is bold enough to kill the celestial dragons. The president of the Tiantian Auction House is powerful, freezing Akiji and fanning Katakuri. The auction was over, and the news from the outside world was flying everywhere in an instant. As the controller of the news and the participant of the auction, Morgans described the events of the whole venue more excitingly, and then it was published in the newspapers. For several days in a row, the Tiantian Auction House was the headline of the newspapers. All of a sudden, discussions about the Tiantian Auction House started all over the world. Another troublesome character. Sengoku tapped his fingers on the table, frowning. What about the celestial dragons? Garp asked, sniffing. You have the nerve to say a marine hero, a marine admiral, can't even deal with a small auction house. You two just wait to be punished. As for the killing of the celestial dragons, they have already arranged for it themselves. Speaking of this, Sengoku is even more headache. Let's not talk about that now. Kamapai Kigong, Bo must not fall into the hands of thieves. Tezulo's illegal behaviors are increasing. He should be punished. Kamipa Kigongbo. I'll take it back along the way. Sakazuki stood up and said in a deep voice. Marine has been paying close attention to Tezulo, and now that Kamihi Kigong has been taken away, there is no reason to continue letting it go. On the second day after the auction ended, Marine Admiral Sakazuki set off with his troops towards New World. Meanwhile, Wanakuni, Ghost Island. FK, these good things should be mine. Kaido took a sip of his wine and slammed the jug on the ground. Whitebeard actually took pictures of the sacred fruit, so I want to see it. Roar. A roar. Kaido gradually turned into a green dragon and flew towards the air. Jack the Drow immediately rallied his men and followed. "Father, Kaido has invaded our territory with people." On a beautiful island, Whitebeard was basking in the sun leisurely when a sudden siren broke the tranquility. "This lunatic, tell our people not to be tough. Who else came here together?" "With Jack the Drow." "Father, let me go. It just so happens that the new ability has not been practiced yet." Jaws looked excited, just worrying that there is no place to fight well. This opponent came. "Whitebeard, you're not dead yet." Before Whitebeard could set off, there was a thunderous sound. A huge ship is approaching the small island, and standing at the bow is one of the extremely tall four emperors, the Beast Emperor Kaido. Just from the sound, the area where Whitebeard was located was blown by strong winds, and all the trees were uprooted. The beautiful scenery immediately turned into a mess. "Kaido, why don't you stay in your ghost island? What are you doing here?" Whitebeard stood up. His huge body remained motionless and waved his hand slightly while speaking. Boom! The calm mirror-like sea in front of him began to blow violently, and the sea water was turbulent and tumbling, and the scene was extremely shocking. Kaido's boat began to shake violently. Kaido just smiled slightly, and the boat stabilized with a shock. "Master Kaido, I'll take the lead first." Jack took out a sickle-like weapon and jumped up. "You take the people aside. This guy is handed over to me." Jaws waved his fists, gave a word of advice to Ace and the others, and rushed forward. Boom! Kiatsu's body began to be covered with hard diamonds, and at the same time, bone spurs grew out of his body. However, the originally white bone spurs instantly became as black as ink. The bone spur, which was originally as hard as iron, became even more indestructible after adding armament hockey. "Is this your new ability? It doesn't look like much." Jack brandished two knives and said disdainfully. Boom! At the same time, the two collided, and dazzling sparks burst out from the contact of the double-knife fishbone spurs. In just a split second, the two faced off countless tricks. George's attack methods are much stronger now than before. Ace praised, Whitebeard nodded as well. The current Josie can be regarded as a true combination of offense and defense. Kaido watched the battle with a serious face, and the one-sidedness he imagined did not happen. Jack is the top-level combat power of his subordinates. He didn't think that Josie would be his opponent at all, but now it seems that it is not what he imagined. Boom! The battle between the two continued to erupt with strong fluctuations, and the ground continued to be cracked, making it difficult to distinguish between them for a while. However, as time went by, Josie's ability to combine his shining fruit and deadbone pulse became smoother and smoother. The battle became more and more handy. Jack only felt that it was getting more and more difficult, and his expression became more and more dignified. "Jack the Drow, that's all." Jaws blocked Jack's double knives with one hand, and a bone spur grew out of the other hand, piercing Jack's hard skin. An ancient species of mammoth. This is a devil fruit with top defense. But even so, Jaws' dead bone pulse broke through the defense. Jack fell into a disadvantage in an instant, and Jaws began to chase after the victory. All of a sudden, Jack's body was injured everywhere. Everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates showed relaxed smiles. As for Kaido, who was above the sea, his face darkened instantly, and the originally clear sky began to become cloudy. Kaido is angry. Looks like Jack the Drow will be removed from this world today. They had already called home, and Jaws naturally didn't hold back. Jack never backed down. Even if he was seriously injured, he still rushed forward bravely. But if this continues, there will only be one result, and that is death. "It's under my new move, Bone Spear," Jaws yelled. A gun-shaped bone spur protruded from his right wrist, and he went straight towards Jack, making the air rub against him with a whistling sound. With this trick, Jack must die. Enough. Kaido couldn't bear it anymore, and jumped up high with the mace in his hand. Thunder 8 trigrams. The mace, mixed with electric light, went straight towards Jaws. The battle of a younger generation. What are you, an old fellow, involved in? Whitebeard's body shook. He picked up the big knife beside him and moved to stand in front of George. For a moment, a crack appeared in the space in front of Whitebeard. Kaido's attack came in a surge. Boom! A huge air wave swept out, and the already messy ground began to be damaged more seriously, and the entire ground was lifted off a layer. Dense forests and comfortable beaches have turned into a wasteland with nothing. Kaido, are you sure you want to fight me? Then your men will die. The corners of Whitebeard's mouth curled up, quite relaxed. It won't be like this. Although Kaido was extremely angry, he also valued Jack very much. After careful consideration, he chose to retreat. Chapter 13 World Government is furious. CP0 shot. Have you heard? For Emperor's Kaido took Jack the Drow to find Whitebeard's troubles, and finally left in despair. Jack the Drow almost died in Jaw's hands. I remember that they seemed to have fought not long ago, and Kyo Z was clearly at a disadvantage. You don't know that, do you? I heard that Jaws bought a sacred fruit at the Tiantian Auction House, and after eating it, his strength increased greatly. Jack the Drow is no longer his opponent. A few soldiers from naval headquarters were discussing, and Garp, who happened to be passing by, heard this and frowned. This is his ability that is close at hand. Damn it, I missed it. I must go next time. In a luxurious palace, a middle-aged man slapped the table remorsefully, tearing the newspaper in his hand into pieces. Above is the photo of Jaws showing his ability and the information of Tiantian Auction House. Is this the blood Bodhi? It looks like it contains a lot of energy. It's unbelievable. Study well, don't let me down. Of course, my lord. Guy took the blood Bodhi handed by Doflamingo and ran into the laboratory without saying a word. This guy can auction these 3 good things. He must have other things in his hand. This time it's not just for revenge. You guys know what to do. In the splendid palace of the Holy Land, Mariehua, several people in black suits knelt on the ground. In front of them were helmeted, celestial dragons with angry faces. As soon as the news of the life and death of St. Charlos came, celestial dragons urgently summoned CP members who were performing missions in other places, and even a CP0 who was secretly cultivated and whose strength was comparable to Admiral. Dare to kill celestial dragons, there is only one ending. Frustrated, not to mention, Chen Fang still has so many rare and unique items in his hands. Apart from the enemies, this is still a treasure. Let CP0 take the shot. It is not wrong at all. The mighty fleet assembled in Sabaody Archipelago. It's the fleet of the world government. Everyone run. I'm here to trouble the auction house. This island is going to be gone. Sure enough, killing the celestial dragons will not end well. The residents of the island fled in all directions, away from the battlefield. CP0 hurried towards the auction house with a group of CP members and soldiers. Soon, the Tiantian Auction House was surrounded by soldiers. This is the Tiantian Auction House. It's ruined. CP0 waved the order. Whoosh. Rows of cannonballs that had already been placed went straight to the auction house. Bang, bang, bang. Violent explosions resounded through the sky. However, the shells that could easily flatten a hill pile fell on the protective cover and had no other effect except for the loud noise. As the rumors say, ordinary shells are useless, a CP member said coldly. Before coming here, they had already inquired about the Tiantian Auction House. Now that I see it with my own eyes, I am not surprised. Then take the latest technology. At the command of CP0, a neat pair of people stepped out, followed by it. There are also cannon carriages, but this cannon carriage is different from ordinary cannons. It's not the caliber of the cylinder. It looks more like a precision instrument. What kind of weapon is this? I have never seen it before. There are no cannonballs just now, and moving this out is definitely better than cannonballs. This must be a new type of combat weapon newly researched by the world government, but I don't know if it will be useful. I bet it's useless. I think it might work. The people who watched the excitement in the distance were also excited, and this protective cover aroused everyone's curiosity. Smash the Heavens Auction House. Sizzle. With CP0's order, the muzzle of this new type of shell instantly radiated a dazzling white light. Intense laser cannon. Where the laser light passed, there was no grass growing, and the buildings on the side collapsed in just a moment of being irradiated. Countless laser beams shot towards the auction house like a sharp sword piercing the sky. But even with such a strong laser, After falling on the protective shield, it is already impossible to advance an inch. This is the latest product developed by Vegapunk. It's amazingly powerful, no matter what the shield is made of. It won't last long. A CP member looked at the gorgeous picture in front of him and said confidently, "Since that Chen Fang is going to hide in this turtle shell, let's break the turtle shell first." Another person agreed. Several CP members looked at them jokingly. It's been a while. The laser and the protective shield were still in a stalemate, but the expressions of these people slowly froze on their faces. This powerful laser has been used for such a long time. Even an island is in danger of being destroyed. And the protective cover still didn't move at all. Apparently, the laser didn't have any effect. What is this? Beads of sweat dripped out of the CP's forehead anxiously. It's been so long since they've come so mighty, and even the door of their house hasn't been broken up to now. So how can they arrest people? I remembered. According to the data, Chen Fang has never been out of the auction house, and he always sells in the auction house. It seems that his ability is the auction house. Yes, although I have never heard of this ability, it is not difficult to guess that he must only be able to display his strength in this auction house, and he must be a waste when he comes out. CPs are all people who have seen the big world and have received various training and knowledge irrigation for a long time. With both high IQ and combat ability, they guessed Chen Fang's situation at once. Now, as long as we destroy this auction house, the task should be completed. It should be like this, but the trouble now is that the defensive power of this turtle shell is too high. While CP was happy with his reasoning, he was also troubled by the defensive power of the Tiantian auction house. Chen Fang's delay in coming out fully proved their reasoning. Can't you break through this attack? It's too strong. The world government's attack is too terrifying. Fortunately, I run fast. The residents fleeing here watched from a distance, and Rayleigh joined the crowd. This guy can't come out, can he? Rayleigh murmured to himself. Even after being bombarded like this, it stands to reason that Chen Fang, who is so powerful, shouldn't choose to hide in the protective cover. After bombing for so long, I don't take a break. Chen Fang inside the protective cover smashed a dinosaur with a slap. He has felt it since these people started attacking. But he has been training, and he doesn't bother to take care of these people at all. With a thought in Chen Fang's mind, all the set enemies disappeared, and the training venue gradually changed, and it became the previous auction venue again. After training for so long, Chen Fang has mastered such fighting skills as Sage Body and Sharingan. Chen Fang's body shook. His original training uniform turned into a gorgeous robe, and his messy hair became tidy due to training. He looked like a literati, and there was no trace of a warrior. You can go out and have a look. In a flash, Chen Fang appeared at the gate of the auction house the next moment. In an instant, a laser shot towards him, but it landed on the protective shield. "You are Chen Fang. Dare you come out and suffer your death?" After seeing Chen Fang, CP0's eyes lit up instantly. Chapter 14, Amaterasu destroys CP0. Shocked Rayleigh, seeking Flower monthly ticket evaluation ticket. Here it is, it's Chen Fang. Will he come out? This shield looks like it can hold up completely. If you want me, I won't come out. Let them fight outside. As soon as Chen Fang appeared, people watching from a distance started a heated discussion. The protagonist finally appeared. What kind of situation will this battle go on? The journalists in the crowd looked at the distant battlefield with even more expectation. I want to go out. See if you don't give me a chance. The protective shield hasn't been blown away yet. Looking at CP0 headed by the opponent, Chen Fang said jokingly, "Is he the one who subdued Akiji anyway? And is he just huddled inside the turtle shell?" CP0 clenched his fist secretly, but still tried his best to keep calm and speak provocatively. "No way. Who told you to be so incompetent? This little protective cover can't solve it." CP0's eyes were fixed. If eyes could kill, he would have already torn Chen Fang's body to pieces. But immediately, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The more this happened, the more he confirmed his guess. Chen Fang can't leave the auction house. Give me a full bombardment. The defensive ability of his shield is definitely limited. Bang, bang, bang. This series of attacks lit up the entire sky. It's good to watch, but it's too noisy. Seeing the fireworks-like attack above his head, Chen Fang shook his head and then took a step forward. Ow! The sharp-eyed person in the distance saw it all at once and exclaimed. CP0, who has been following Chen Fang closely, naturally did not miss this moment. Target Chen Fang attack. CP0 gave an order instantly, and the soldiers controlling the light laser cannon adjusted their direction immediately. Almost the moment Chen Fang stepped out of the shield, the laser fell on him. Wood-style tree tie, swipe, swipe. The surrounding trees that had been destroyed by the aftermath of the battle came back to life in an instant, as if they had heard Chen Fang's order. The trees are intertwined with each other to form a chain, which immediately surrounds the circle of laser cannons. All the laser cannons instantly lost their direction and began to shoot indiscriminately. The lasers suddenly changed direction, and the originally orderly troops of the world government also became targets within the attack range. The formation was instantly chaotic, and the scene was difficult to control for a while. Have these trees become spirits? Could he be Logia devil fruit? It's anyone's guess. The CPs are also in a hurry. The new type of laser cannon was restricted, not only did not hurt the opponent, but also hurt one's own people. Isn't this shooting yourself in the foot? They can dodge attacks flexibly, but those ordinary soldiers can hardly resist. Turn off laser cannon, melee. The leader CP0 gave an order, and the scene gradually settled down. Behind him, the CP members in black suits shot out one by one. There are so many people, just try it. Facing the siege of the crowd, Chen Fang smiled slightly, his eyes rolled, and the eternal Manjiki shone out. Amaterasu. Boom! Black flames floated out of thin air, and wherever Chen Fang looked, black rays of light ignited one after another. What kind of flame is this? Why can't it be extinguished? It hurts. I can't do it. The fire of Amaterasu is inevitable, and there is no way to extinguish it except Chen Fang. The flames covered the besieged new laser cannons. These high-tech products, under the attack of the flames, turned into ashes in a short while. As for the CPs who bear the brunt, it is even more difficult to escape. Those who are stronger can use moonwalk to find water pools, but after jumping in, he finds that not only has the black flame not been extinguished, but it has burned all the water. With just one face-to-face, the army that could wipe out a small island was destroyed in 7s and 80s, and it only took a while for the entire army to be wiped out. Only the most powerful CP0 was suspended in midair on the moonwalk and escaped the catastrophe. It never occurred to him that the CP members who were as powerful as ordinary Vice Admiral, together with a group of elite troops from the world government, plus the new laser cannon, would be instantly wiped out by the man in front of him. How can this not go out of the auction house? This is simply a nuclear weapon for people. It's too fierce. This is definitely Admiral-level strength. Don't you forget, Akiji is trapped by him. What kind of pervert is this? He didn't offer a reward before. I bet he will definitely exceed 1 billion after this time. All the spectators were stunned, and Rayleigh's eyes were also blazing. After so many years of galloping on the sea, he has never heard of these kinds of strengths displayed by Chen Fang, let alone in him alone. There is still one to see. Chen Fang's purple eyes looked at CP0 in midair. Successor. Chen Fang's pupils kept shrinking, and at this moment, purple energy bloomed from his body. The energy flows slowly, forming a giant appearance. The giant's appearance became more and more solid, enveloping Chen Fang's whole body. Like an armor, more like a patron saint. CP0's pupils shrank slightly, and he felt inexplicable pressure from the strange thing in front of him. Don't say I didn't give you a chance. I'll just stand here and see if you can hurt me. Arrogance. Shave. CP0 raised his eyebrows, and his figure disappeared instantly. Finger pistol. With the index finger attached to armament hockey, it stabbed Susanoo. CP0 frowned. The blow felt like hitting a steel plate. However, even steel plates can't escape his finger pistol, let alone armament hockey. Random shooting. One blow failed, and CP0 covered armament hockey with both hands. His black fingers kept attacking Susanoo's armor. There was only a burst of intensive impact, but it was impossible to attack at all. CP0 can clearly see Chen Fang from the outside, but no matter how he attacks, he can't break Chen Fang's purple armor. It's too boring for you to do this. Chen Fang stretches his waist pretending not to care, and Susanoo outside his body also open his hands. Attacks on CP0 are ignored. Are normal attacks useless? Then, roar. A barrage of attacks had no effect, and CP0 finally stopped. But this is not giving up, but the beginning of a new round. I saw CP0 roaring loudly, and the originally slender and thin figure was suddenly torn by the soaring muscles. The tiger's pattern walks on the skin, the head gradually deforms, and the sharp fangs are particularly dazzling in the purple light. Zoan, ancient species, saber-toothed tiger. CP0 exuded a dangerous aura all over his body, and his tiger eyes stared at Chen Fang like a prey, piercing Chen Fang's body like sharp swords, ready to tear him apart in the next moment. Hey, attack as soon as you're done transforming. Don't act like you haven't seen a handsome guy before. Chapter 15 Kill Admiral with one finger. Meeting of the Five Elders Boom. If we say that CP0's attack was like raindrops before, then now he is like a storm. Zoan's ability users can continuously increase their strength through their own training. As a CP0 member of world government, he is undoubtedly the best in the world in terms of talent and perseverance, coupled with the high-quality resources given by the world government. Even Admiral is fearless. He is confident that these attacks, even Kaido, who claims to be the strongest defense in the world, cannot be unscathed. But now, in front of Chen Fang, it was like hitting a stone with a pebble, which made him really hard to calm down. 6 forms are so simple. Chen Fang, standing inside Susanoo, also shared in to observe CP0's tricks when he was bored. He can also clearly see the 6 uninherited secret techniques known as marine. Of course, the strength of the trick is related to the user. It proves that the strength of CP0's 6 moves is absolutely top-notch. What did you say? CP0 has learned the 6 styles since he was a child. Even though he is very talented, he has experienced a lot of hardships in learning. Unexpectedly, Chen Fang suddenly said such a sentence, which directly broke his defense. It's literally, if you don't believe me, look at it. Finger pistol. Chen Fang looked at CP0 with a wicked smile and raised his hand, going to attack. CP0 was on alert for an instant and pulled out all the stops to meet the attack. As Chen Fang raised his hand, the scholar farmer also raised his huge palm and then stretched out a finger. Don't be kidding, you can use fingers without stretching out your fingers. Before CP0 finished speaking, he held his breath and suddenly moved his hands forward, clenched his fists, and released the finger pistol technique at the same time. Boom! Susanoo's fingers directly crushed CP0's body without encountering any obstacles. This, really, finger pistol not. CP0's eyes were staring like brass bells, and disbelief was written all over his face. Maybe it's because I don't believe that Chen Fang can learn finger pistol, or maybe I don't believe that I can't catch Chen Fang's move. It's time to call it a day. Chen Fang took back Susanoo, feeling a little tired. Although Susanoo consumes very little of him, it is not to the point where he can be used infinitely. CP0's body fell into the black flames and instantly turned into ashes. Chen Fang took Amaterasu back again with the pupil technique. Although the whole ground was in a mess, the war was finally over. None of the world government's mighty army survived. One finger instant kill. The people watching the excitement were really dumbfounded. Big news again. This time I can get a bonus. The journalists couldn't wait to spread the news. It seems that this day is going to change. Pluton Rayleigh smiled, as if he was relieved, but also worried. Soon, the Holy Land Mariawa also received the news. The whole army was wiped out? What did you do? Hurry up and block the news. If this matter gets out, it'll be the biggest stain on the world government. Don't launch a second attack for now, and investigate Chen Fang's details with all your strength. In an office in the Holy Land Mariawa, 5 old men exuding vitality were furious. With something this big happening, they 5 elders have to deal with. The reporter knelt on the ground, tremblingly, and recorded the instructions of 5 elders. Who is this Chen Fang? And what's going on with the Tiantian Auction House? I've never heard of it before. It should be a new force. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. It will be another trouble. Those guys in New World don't dare to be so arrogant. What kind of confidence does this little guy have? A kid who didn't offer a bounty suddenly rose up. There must be something tricky. We must investigate carefully. After the reporter left, the 5 elders also started to discuss, and they all had to pay attention to Chen Fang's behavior. The news of the annihilation of the world government was completely blocked, but there were not many people who knew the facts, and many big forces knew this information. Everyone knew that whether it was Chen Fang inside the auction house or Chen Fang outside the auction house, they were existences that they could not easily offend. There was indeed speculation that Chen Fang would not be able to walk out of the auction house, but now it has disappeared. Soon, half a month passed. Chen Fang has also spent half a month of leisure time, and at the same time, he has perfected his own ability. It was at this time that Chen Fang got the news from Xiaobai that the second auction could start at any time. But this time, Chen Fang didn't send out the invitation first, but spread the news first. The Tiantian Auction House's second auction, it seems that we have to prepare a little better this time. On the warship of the Revolutionary Army, Long looked at the broken pirate ship not far away, and the boxes of treasures that had been moved to the ship, showing a look of anticipation. This time I also caught several guys with good rewards. When the time comes, let someone pretend to go to the government to collect the money. Sabo returned to the boat with the 2 battered men. A certain big country in North Blue. It's not that our fees are high. The second auction of the Tiantian Auction House is about to start. Last time we missed it at Germa 66. This time we are bound to win. If you want to win this war, you can only promise us conditions of. I heard that the Tiantian Auction House has all kinds of treasures, but I can't wait to die. Vinsmoke Niji and Vinsmoke Eg are blackmailing the king. And the king also had a sad expression on his face. The Tiantian Auction House was rumored to be a place that could change fate. He originally wanted to participate, but now for the sake of the country, he could only spend money to avoid disaster. Get all the little ones moving. This time we can't miss it. All lots will be my beast pirates. On Ghost Island, Kaido's voice resounded through the sky. Suddenly, the sea fell into turmoil again. Marshal, it's not good. The entire country of West Blue has been penetrated by pirates. Marshal, the beast pirates are out in force, and countless islands have been robbed. Marshal, Big Mom has ruined another country by returning the bandits. Because of Chen Fang's matter, the world government and naval headquarters are already having a lot of headaches. But now, because of Chen Fang's words, riots broke out everywhere. And it's not just the little pirates who caused the riots, but even the 4 emperors, who are also amassing money everywhere. Damn it, this Chen Fang is simply the black sheep. What a shitty auction house. It's really disgusting. Sengoku was furious. Marine has tried its best to maintain a stable situation in various places, but now Chen Fang's one sentence directly broke it, making Sengoku jump his feet in anger. By the way, it's about to start, and we need to prepare more money. Garp looked indifferent, popped a piece of booger, and said to Sengoku in a leisurely tone, "You." Sengoku looked at Garp unhappily. His fingers were trembling with anger. "Hurry up and prepare more treasures, and ask the world government to approve more. This time we can't leave empty-handed." Chapter 16, The Second Auction. All forces shaking again, Sabedi Archipelago. Clear skies. A small island that has just experienced a war, with broken arms and ruins, and the forest is completely destroyed. There's only one complete building on the small island, but it is full of voices, singing, and dancing. For no other reason, the second Tiantian auction will start immediately. The world's major powers came to the island one after another, and this broken island immediately became the most prosperous place in the Sabedi Archipelago. That's Diamond Iron Bone Jazzy. I heard that the last time I photographed the sacred fruit of Deadbone Pulse, my strength has soared. Jack, one of the 3 disasters of beast pirates, was seriously injured by him. Stop talking. The Lord is coming. After the last battle, Jaws has a new nickname, and he looks daunting even from a distance. Now, Whitebeard took him just up to the island, and then it was the Beast Pirates, and Kaido took Jack to the island himself. Not only would he not miss this auction, but he also went to the island himself. What I don't want to miss is Big Mom. After hearing Katakuri's report last time, she also found this interesting place worth visiting. The three powerful forces appeared on the stage, and the tense atmosphere instantly ignited. The spectators were so frightened that they hid away one by one, for fear that these three terrifying guys would accidentally collide. Hey, all three are here. A joking voice broke the tense atmosphere. Garp smiled and led a team of Marines out from the side. Three scary guys are here. Standing beside Garp was a middle-aged man in a yellow suit with drooping eyes. The middle-aged man looked listless, as if he had no interest in anything, especially his drooping eyes, which seemed to be lacking in energy. But the people around looked at the two of them, not daring to relax in the slightest, but more vigilant. I didn't expect Kizuru Admiral to come too. You Marines are here to arrest people this time, or to participate in the auction. There was a joking voice. Shanks, with red hair and a big smile on his face, also walked to the door of the auction. Yo, it seems that not three scary guys, but four scary guys are here. Kizuru still had drooping eyes, and what he said was scary, but there was no trace of fear. Everyone who breaks the law is the target of my Marine. He can't escape. A burst of dry and hot breath came oncoming. Akainu walked slowly from not far away, and at the same time looked at Whitebeard and the others with very warning eyes. Why did this boring guy, Akainu, come here? Didn't he go to encircle and suppress the Golden Emperor? Garp asked Kizaru in a low voice. How do I know that? Just ask him yourself. Kizaru said with a nonchalant expression. TSH, whoever likes to ask, whoever asks. Garp picked his nose, turned and walked directly towards the auction venue. Fortunately, I ran fast. It's always safe here. Inside the venue, a person was panting heavily. With that embarrassed appearance, no one would associate him with the mighty Golden Emperor. After being chased by Akainu for more than half a month, when he was almost caught up, he received an invitation letter from the Tiantian Auction House. Tezzalo immediately thought of the best shelter. After entering the door, Tezzalo finally breathed a sigh of relief. However, when he felt the scorching air, he had already let go of his stomach and raised his throat again. Damn it, how did he know? Tetzolo quickly buried his head down. The venue is not small, but it's not too big either. Admiral can't escape Admiral's eyes in this empty space. As soon as he entered the door, Akainu's eyes locked on Tezzalo. Seeing this moment, Garp and Kizuru understood what was going on without asking. The moment he saw Tezzalo, the temperature around Akainu's body suddenly rose, and flames ignited on the entourage not far away, scaring everyone around him away. Akainu, if I were you, I would choose to sit quietly. Garp walked in, fanning his hands casually, and the heat in front of him was blown aside. Whitebeard and the others also walked in, and with their information-gathering ability, they had known about Marine's big move for a long time. It's no secret that Marine has thoughts about the Golden Emperor and his Kamehameha Kigong wave. It seems that I have the opportunity to witness Admiral style. Someone in red hair pirates also said jokingly. There was a smile on the corner of Shank's mouth, and his eyes were completely watching the show. The rules of the Tiantian Auction House, as well as the fate of the last violation of the rules, have long been circulated. Now, that Marine Admiral Akainu wants to do something, those pirates are naturally very happy to see it happen. Akainu, if you do something here, the scary president will be angry. Although Kizuru doesn't care, he is also stopping Akainu. That Chen Fang is also our Marine's #1 enemy. You guys are afraid of him. It's really embarrassing to Marine. Akainu is a person who implements absolute justice. Seeing that the target of his mission does not take action, but is threatened by the #1 enemy, it is simply an insult to the dignity of his Marine Admiral. Facing Akainu's majestic haki, Garp spread his hands helplessly. Although the president is violent, he is quite reasonable. At least he will not restrict the auction of his power because of one person. Garp ignored Akainu, found a seat, and sat down. I'll take care of this boss later. Tezzalo, just returned to Naval Headquarters honestly with me today. Akainu's body was full of magma. Even if he knew what happened to Chen Fang before, and he had absolute justice in his heart, he was ready to attack. Isn't it? Another Marine Admiral is going to do something? Tetsolo was taken aback by this, but he sat firmly on the chair, because Chen Fang has already stood on the auction stage at the forefront. The others were also watching this scene, a little surprised, more like watching a play. Trouble before it even started. Are you all Marines or pirates? Chen Fang shook his head, as if he hated iron but steel, then raised his hand, and a fist made of magma went straight towards Akainu. Akainu narrowed his eyes, and this attack method was exactly the same as his. But before he had time to think about it, the magma, surging on his arm, turned into a huge fist, and he smashed it towards him. Boom! The fluctuations scattered, but then Akainu flew out, directly out of the protective shield of the auction. Akainu was frightened, but no matter how angry he attacked, he couldn't go any further. And those people around were able to walk into the auction at will. And Akainu was so angry that he made the already dilapidated island worse. Everyone, welcome to the Tiantian auction. Without further ado, please take the first lot. Soon, the auction was full of people. For the previous scene of Akainu, everyone was not surprised, and their minds quickly turned to the box that Chen Fang took out. P.S. Everyone who is reading this book, Yinzu Guanxi, don't ask for expensive things. Just ask for some free data. Chapter 17, Fairy Beans. The major forces looting aren't these 3 little beans? I've heard about the magic of the Tiantian Auction House. I came all the way here. Didn't I say that any sale would shock the world? What the hell is this little bean? Many people came to the auction for the first time, and they didn't know why for a while. However, Whitebeard and other people who have participated have remained silent, and the introduction has not yet come out. It is only the impatient people who deny it now. Everyone, don't be impatient. These 3 beans are called immortal beans. They are immortal products for healing injuries. Whether you're missing arms or legs or seriously injured and dying, as long as you have a breath, you can instantly recover to your best condition. Impossible! How can there be such a drug in the world? This bean looks really ordinary. How could it have such an effect? There was an uproar in an instant, although the reputation of Tiantian Auction House was outside. After all, it was the second auction, and it hadn't been enough to make everyone believe it by just showing something. Funny, except for some specific fruit abilities, Zoan Devil Fruit has the strongest recovery ability, especially our ancient species. A small bean is nothing. Jack beside Kaido also spoke confidently at this time. It wasn't that long since his last injury, but he's back to normal now. Obviously, it can prove the powerful recovery ability of Zoan Fruit. Chen Fang has long been familiar with doubts. Some new friends may not know it yet, so let's watch the big screen first. Chen Fang was not in a hurry. The sound fell, and the big screen began to play. What is shown is the scene of various fairy beans and the Dragon Ball healing people. One by one, the people who were about to die, after eating the celestial beans, instantly became alive and well. Most of the skeptical voices on the field have quieted down. Only a few voices are still making trouble. The most prominent one is Jack the Drow. As you can see, I call this fairy bean the world's #1 recovery medicine. No problem. Hey, this is just a video, and you just want to send us away with a video. Do you really think we are easy to deceive? Jack the Drow directly questioned loudly. There is simply no such drug in the world. Everyone knows that our Lord Kaido is the most resilient creature in the world. How can a small pill compare to him? 3 ordinary beans are taken out as auction items. If your auction house can't continue, please close it. It's a waste of our Beast Pirates trip. After watching the video, only Jack the Drow dared to question so loudly, and his tone was extremely arrogant. The other big forces all looked over one after another. Their eyes were filled with coldness. According to Jack, Kaido is the #1 in the world. Whitebeard, Big Mom, and other fearsome big pirates are all present. But what people are most concerned about now is not the #1 in the world, but the order of the auction. It's okay to question, but you don't believe that you can choose not to sell. And now Jack's behavior has seriously violated the order of the auction. Not only arrogant, but also in rhythm. Many people also fell in love with Chen Fang. Chen Fang still had a warm smile, but the coldness in his eyes could make people shiver. "Oh, it seems you don't believe it." "Yeah, I just don't believe it," Jack said without thinking. It's not that he doesn't understand the rules of the auction house. It's not that he didn't see Akainu's fate just now, but the rule is that he can't do anything, so he just doesn't want to. Well, there was another sigh, and then a cross was suddenly sent under Jack's seat. Jack didn't know what happened, and suddenly his whole body was crucified. Since everyone doesn't believe it, let's demonstrate it to everyone. Chen Fang's gaze moved slightly, but he was still standing on the auction stage, with his outstretched hand far away in the direction of Jack in a downward chopping gesture. And following Chen Fang's gesture, a light blade suddenly appeared out of nowhere on the venue, and the light blade fell down at a high speed. Jack's body is hard as copper, and iron did not pose any hindrance, and the light blade penetrated instantly. Then, with a few more strokes, Jack's limbs were easily dismembered. Jack's face was full of anger and fear. He didn't know what happened just now, but he only knew that he couldn't move. He, who has been on the battlefield for a long time, is not afraid of pain, but afraid of this kind of unknown control. "What you do?" Seeing this scene, Kaido, who had been silent on the sidelines, became angry. Didn't he not believe it? Then let him believe it. By the way, let him give you a demonstration. Chen Fang said indifferently, then took out a fairy bean from the box, threw it casually, and it landed firmly in Jack's mouth. Before Jack knew what happened, the fairy beans had already fallen into his stomach. Immediately afterwards, he only felt a warm current surge in his body, and this comfortable feeling made his eyes close. "It's grown. I'm going. How is it possible? It can't be a hallucination, right? Are you stupid? Can Jack the Drow cooperate with him in acting? Is the blood on the ground fake?" Amid everyone's surprised, puzzled, and unbelievable eyes, Jack the Drow recovered in an instant. Jack stared wide-eyed, looking at his newly grown hands and feet, as well as the broken arm and leg that fell to the ground. Jack couldn't get out of the shock for a long time. Seeing that his subordinates recovered as before, Kaido didn't say much. At that moment, Chen Fang had to make him a little vigilant. However, he didn't have much interest in this fairy bean. As Jack said, he didn't need it. But he didn't need it, and there were many people who needed it. This time a real experiment. Everyone's eyes can burst into flames. Have you all seen it? There are two left, 2 consecutive auctions, one with 10,000 resource points, and each bid must not be lower than 1,000. 20,000. Someone bid directly. If it weren't for the damn Jack, there would be one more auction item. 25,000. 26,000. There were constant bids, but at the same time, many people looked at Beast Pirates with resentment. Those present were all big figures, and Kaido's prestige could not suppress the grievances of these people. "This is more suitable for us than Blood Bodhi. We must take it." Sabo clenched his fists. Because of the previous experience, he appeared here again on behalf of the Revolutionary Army this time. The difference is that this time he has more money in his hands. Likewise, he looked at the Beast Pirates in displeasure. If there is one more celestial being, the chance of being photographed will be much higher, and the funds used may be less. "Vice Admiral Garp, are we going to film this? Does it need to be said?" 30,000. Garp gave Kizaru a blank look and immediately called for the price. Chapter 18 Auction of Blue Eyes White Dragon. With such a high price all of a sudden, it was just a fairy bean, and the scene became a little more stable all of a sudden. After all, it was just the beginning, and everyone didn't want to shout too hard. 40,000. Sabo is also experienced and immediately quoted a high price. All of a sudden, the person who was still hesitating suddenly fell silent, and Garp became hesitant. This is already the same price as Blood Bodhi, but Blood Bodhi can also improve strength. Immortal Bean only has recovery ability, but this Immortal Bean's recovery ability is even more pervert. 40,000 the third time. Just thinking about it. Chen Fang's auction hammer has already dropped. Sabo's eyes showed joy, and he got a fairy bean at the beginning, and this time he has come. The delivery was made quickly, and Garp slapped his forehead regretfully. There's only one left, so it's probably going to be more sought after. The price may be even higher. Vice Admiral Garp, it's too late to understand now. You knew earlier? Didn't you know to remind me earlier? Don't look at me so horribly. It scares me too much. Kizaru waved his hands, drooping his eyes, looking innocent. Okay, now is the last fairy bean. Following Chen Fang's order, the lively auction started again. 40,000. Sabo called directly and decisively. 50,000. Garp did the same this time. Sure enough, many people were waiting for the auction of the last fairy bean. Garp knew that if he wanted to get it, he had to pay a high price. There was no suspense in the result. Sabo was unwilling to compete with high prices, and Garp finally succeeded in getting the last fairy bean. Damn it, as long as Jack doesn't waste one, we won't have a chance. Oh, I missed the fairy bean. I must get the next one. President, don't be idle. Hurry up and come to the next lot. The celestial beans were gone, and the wasted one made people feel aggrieved. But at this moment, they could only look forward to the next one. Everyone, don't worry. There's one more thing to deal with before showing the next lot. Chen Fang gently put down the auction in his hand, and with a smile on his face, he looked in the direction of the beast pirates. There's a good show. After this period of time, some people still have a little understanding of Chen Fang. I just said, how can it be wasted? Garp also smiled gloatingly. 2 fairy beans. The auction price is a total of 90,000 resource points. I am an honest businessman, and I can charge you 45,000 points. If you don't give it, I don't need to say more. Chen Fang didn't name them, but everyone knew that he was referring to the beast pirates. We didn't ask for it just now, you. Jack was upset when he heard this, but before he finished speaking, Kaido interrupted him directly. Give me money. Kaido people don't talk harshly. My lord, this. Such an interesting auction house. There should be something I want. Don't mess with the rules. Kaido was not only not angry, but also very generous. No one knows what Kaido is thinking in his heart, but it can be resolved so quickly, and no one cares about it. Chen Fang didn't care too much. Shindo must not be wasted, and the opponent's cooperation is the best. Okay, now is the second lot, the blue-eyed white dragon. As Chen Fang said, a baby dragon with a white body and a pair of underdeveloped wings landed on Chen Fang's left hand. The young dragon's blue eyes rolled around vividly, looking very cute. And if you look closely, his scales are already sharp claws, and they are all shining with sharp brilliance. Although it is a young dragon scale armor, it is not comparable to ordinary weapons. This little guy is called Blue Eyes White Dragon. Don't look at his young appearance now. When he grows up, his strength is absolutely comparable to Vice Admiral. If he can train again, his future is unimaginable. Let's not talk much, just watch the big screen. As Chen Fang's voice fell, the big screen also began to play pictures. The ferocious scene caught everyone's attention over and over again. Many people were admiring the strength of the blue-eyed white dragon, and their eyes showed interest. But some people are already looking forward to it. Big Mom and Kaido don't even look at the screen. When Chen Fang took out the blue-eyed white dragon, the 2 guys who know the goods have already made up their minds. No need to explain. Hurry up and negotiate the price. As soon as the video ended, before Chen Fang could speak, Kaido urged, Haha, then I won't talk nonsense. The starting price is still 10,000 resource points, and the price increase is no less than 1,000 each time. 40,000. As soon as Chen Fang finished speaking, Kaido's rich voice came out directly. Those who were interested were not given time to bid, and the blue-eyed white dragon was immediately raised to the bottom price in many people's hearts. 50,000. Another big force made an offer. 60,000, Big Mom said without thinking. 70,000. Kaido also did not hesitate. 80,000, Big Mom sang forward, not caring at all. Mamama, this rare creature has never been seen before. This will be my best collection. This is simply born from my world. Big Mom said excitedly. His eyes were full of excitement, and he didn't care about the price at all. 90,000. There's no better place for him than I. Beast Pirates, Lin Lin, this is a dragon. Kaido also did not hesitate to make an offer. The bidding has only just begun, and the battle has completely become a game between these 2 four emperors. Is that what the rich are asking for? 10,000 and 10,000 plus? It's a good thing. Fortunately, I just came to watch the fun, and I really saw it today. The asking price of the two made everyone sigh. Of course, it's not that no one can afford to follow, but it can be seen from the passionate eyes of these two people. It doesn't make any sense to fight with them. Father, if you can take this little guy as a pet, it will be more fun on the boat in the future. Indeed, but those two lunatics have already fought like that, so we won't participate. You choose to watch the drama from the sidelines. As for the war between the two, the price has soared to 150,000. The faces of the two were blushing, and Chen Fang kept secretly laughing in his heart. In any case, it was just to guarantee the strength of Vice Admiral. Originally, Chen Fang thought that the auction price would not be too high, but now it is obviously beyond my expectations. Sure enough, as long as the goods are the right ones, then everything is easy to talk about. Thinking of the next lot, Chen Fang is already thinking about what to change after the end. 190,000, Kaido said without panting. However, Jack on the side already showed embarrassment. They could hardly accept this price. Just then, Katakuri appeared in the Beast Pirates and whispered something. Kaido turned his head to look at Charlotte Linlin. The two looked at each other, and then Charlotte Linlin blurted out, 200,000. Chapter 19, Shinigami World. Zanpakutō, Neil begging for flour, monthly ticket evaluation ticket. After all, they had stayed on a ship, and after passing the word, the two seemed to have reached a tacit understanding. Although Kaido was very reluctant, he didn't say anything and chose to remain silent. In the end, the blue-eyed white dragon fell into the hands of Big Mom without any suspense at the price of 200,000 resource points. Next is the third lot of this lot, Zanpakutō Suzumabachi. As Chen Fang said, he took out a seemingly ordinary katana sword. This knife, in terms of quality, is not weaker than the Supreme Sword at all. I know some of you will ask, what is Zanpakutō? You can understand that this is just a pronoun, which is a unique product of my Tian Auction House. Of course, it has another meaning, that is, it can give this knife another form. Sure, Kai, Chen Fang said. The Suzumabachi on his face flashed, and the original samurai sword had disappeared, replaced by a pointy fingertip on the middle finger of Chen Fang's right hand. The fingertips looked very sharp, but no one knew why. How did a good supreme sharp knife become a finger cod? I don't need to say more about the function of the supreme big knife. Everyone should understand it, especially the sword masters. Next, I will explain the function of this fingertip to everyone. As he said that, the big screen lit up again, and Sui Feng's capable figure appeared on the screen. The battle scenes also slid by, and everyone immediately had a new understanding of Suzumabachi. There is no other function. Only 2 hits kill, but this is enough to surprise everyone. Everyone has also seen that a black butterfly pattern will be printed on the part hit by the sparrow wind. As long as you attack the center of the butterfly pattern again, you will kill the hit person with 2 hits. No matter which part, know the same. Chen Fang once again emphasized that after Chen Fang's explanation in the previous video, no one asked more questions about efficacy. Obviously, this is a fearsome weapon. Of course, those present are all strong, and they also understand that this is not an unsolvable weapon. As long as you are fast enough and strong enough, and don't let others hit you, or don't let others hit the center, this function is not terrible. But this did not affect the enthusiasm of the crowd in the slightest. Just the supreme sharp knife alone is worthy of attention, not to mention this special function. And this terrifying function is invincible in the right hands. This thing is interesting. Why don't we try it? Someone from Red Hair Pirates said. It's really a pity that Shindo didn't take pictures just now. Sometimes you have to have something in your life, but there is always time in your life. Don't force it. Shanks crossed his legs. Although he came to participate in the auction, it seemed more like he was watching the fun. This thing is too scary to let it go. Garp's eyes were serious. The more powerful one is, the more he understands the horror of this kind of thing. If it were to be taken by those horrible guys, the consequences would be unimaginable. Everyone, do you want to test the function? Before telling the price, Chen Fang said to everyone jokingly, No, President, hurry up and talk about the price. Who dares to try this thing? You can't save Shindo if you die. Let's start now. Everyone laughed. No matter how much they didn't believe it, no one dared to question it. You only live once. Try it and it's gone. Okay, the starting price is 20,000 and no less than 2,000 each time. 30,000, 35,000, 50,000, 60,000. The scene suddenly became extremely lively, and all major forces have a strong interest in Suzumabachi. This thing seems to be quite suitable for Bista. Why don't you take it for him? Ha ha ha. That guy didn't come this time. Knowing that Dad is going to buy something for him, he must be very happy. Jaws laughed and raised his hand to bid without hesitation. But the next moment, he was overwhelmed by others. Almost all the people present were interested, but the most ruthless bidders were those great swordsmen. The entire sea is full of these rich swordsmen. Chen Fang released the news in advance, and these guys have quite enough funds to prepare. Sure enough, we have to spread the news in advance. Everyone participated enthusiastically. Looking at the scene in full swing, Chen Fang was very pleased. 100,000. Garp bid directly. It was a high price again. No matter how much some swordsmen wanted at this price, they still couldn't beat these big forces after all. This time with the support of naval headquarters, Garp is confident. 110,000. The Whitebeard pirates also had sufficient resources. 150,000. Garp knew that he hadn't overwhelmed everyone, so he offered another high price. But this time the same tactics didn't work, and Garp just finished speaking. Another voice sounded. 160,000. Mihawk said in a deep voice, "You already have a big black knife. Why are you joining in the fun?" Garp looked at the serious Mihawk without even venting his anger. 17,000. Whitebeard was also not to be outdone. It's a pity that Bankai is not allowed, otherwise the price. Looking at the really enthusiastic crowd, Chen Fang couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Why got Zanpakutō? The system was also set. The initial auction can only sell Shurkai, and Bankai has to wait for the follow-up. It's a pity, but Chen Fang also knows that Shurkai is already quite perverted. If it were Bankai, it might even pose a threat to him. 200,000. Garp didn't flinch. 201,000. Mihawk still had a calm and cold expression. 250,000. Whitebeard said calmly. 260,000. Mihawk still insisted. The only swordsman present who can compete with these two forces is Mihawk, the #1 swordsman in the world. Hey, such a good weapon, as expected, only they can snatch it. Now I want to produce some ordinary things. These big forces don't like it, so we have a chance. The people present were discussing while watching the excitement. Meanwhile, Garp spoke again. 300,000. Garp will continue the high-price tactics to the end. This time it worked. Mihawk frowned slightly and decided not to speak anymore. You Marines have already photographed fairy beans. Why do you want so many things? 350,000. Whitebeard grumbled, but was unambiguous in terms of asking price. Newgate. Garp's teeth were shaking, and this Whitebeard, who said yes, was not so sincere no matter how he looked. 40,000. Garp thought about giving up for a moment, but when he thought of such a terrifying thing, the upcoming Whitebeard pirates, he no longer hesitated. Should I shoot or not? Damn Marine. The richest Golden Emperor was very conflicted at this time. He missed many previous auctions, but he really wanted Suzumabachi, which is a good thing to increase the combat effectiveness. But now he is intercepted by Marine again. If he speaks up, it will be bad if he leaves the auction house and causes more pursuit. After thinking about it, Tesalo still chose to keep a low profile and hide in the auction house, mainly for safety. If you want it so much, Marine, I'll give it to you. Vista already has 2 good knives, and he may not like this Suzumabachi. Whitebeard is too lazy to fight Garp here. Huh. Garp breathed a sigh of relief, but our eyes immediately looked in the direction of Whitebeard unkindly. Damn it, no matter how you look at it, I feel like I was tricked by this guy. Chapter 20, The Cup of Life. Restoring a young Whitebeard. Congratulations to Vice Admiral Garp for another good item. And now, it is the last lot in this auction, the Cup of Life. This Cup of Life, as the name suggests, can give life. With it, eternal life will no longer be extravagant. No matter how old you are, drinking it can make you 10 years younger. But again, don't be greedy for a good drink, or you will become a baby if you are not careful. Of course, the effect of this water cannot be maintained all the time, and it needs to be taken regularly every once in a while, so as to ensure eternal youth and eternal life. The starting price is 100,000 resource points, and each bid is no less than 10,000. Call the audience was in an uproar. Eternal life. This is something that only exists in the legend, but now it is placed on the bright side. An ordinary cup, drinking the water in the cup, can actually make people younger? Simply unheard of. No way. It's not that I want to question it. This is eternal life. This is simply a fetish. Whoever gets this thing will live forever and stay young forever. Doesn't the president keep such a good thing for himself? Impossible, impossible. There is no such thing in the world. For a moment, no one went to bid for the price, and there were only doubts. Despite all of Chen Fang's actions and proofs, his integrity has been deeply rooted. But now the eternal life still broke this situation. Although everyone hopes that this is true, no one will believe it for the first time, which is too counterintuitive. Although in this magical world of pirates, nothing can be considered with common sense, but immortality is too much. This can't be true. If this is true, we will definitely win it. Everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates was dumbfounded. Even Whitebeard's eyes became warm at this moment. Even if he encountered something of interest before, he was very indifferent. But it's different now. This thing can only be described as heaven-defying. And now the only thing that can save his state is this heaven-defying thing. Because of the torture of old age and old injuries, he now has to wear potions all day long. If only I could return to my youthful form. Thinking of this, Whitebeard immediately shook his head. Whitebeard didn't even dare to think about it. He was afraid that this thing was fake. The greater the hope, the more unacceptable the disappointment would be. Having lived for such a long time, he deeply understands this truth. Whitebeard gradually calmed down. He knew that it was impossible for Chen Fang to remain indifferent in the face of so many doubts. I know you don't believe it, so don't worry. Mr. Edward Newgate, can I trouble you to move here? Chen Fang made a downward gesture towards the venue, then looked at Whitebeard and said. Chen Fang knew very well in his heart that everyone present probably wanted the cup of life. And Whitebeard is the best. Now let Whitebeard experience it for himself. Not only to prove the effect of the cup of life, but also to let Whitebeard experience it for himself, thereby stimulating consumption. With Whitebeard's leadership, other forces will not have any doubts. Father, Ace et al. Are somewhat concerned. This kind of unknown substance, if there are any side effects after eating it, it will be a big trouble for the old Whitebeard. If there is such a thing as the cup of life, they definitely want it more than anyone else, but before the effect is proven, they don't want their father to be a guinea pig. Get out of the way. You don't even have the guts to talk about crossing the sea. Whitebeard regained his momentum, stood up straight with his mighty body, and, at the same time, kicked the bottles and cans beside him to the side. This is Hockey, who is a top powerhouse. If he dared to try, he would put all his eggs in one basket. This is not only to show his bravery, don't explain his trust in Chen Fang. Yes, at the last moment, Whitebeard chose to trust Chen Fang. Chen Fang dared to choose him as an experimental subject. It must have been strategized. Whitebeard bent his leg and fired, and his whole body fell heavily in front of Chen Fang like a cannonball. Tall body, several times bigger than Chen Fang. Boy, come on. Thank you, Mr. Edward. Chen Fang was also unambiguous, picked up the cup and threw it to Whitebeard. Touching the cold touch of the glass, Whitebeard hesitated for a moment, then drank the water in the glass in one gulp. As a person of his age, one mouthful can't solve the problem at all. The glass is full again. Sharp-eyed people immediately noticed that when Whitebeard put down the water glass, the water in the water glass magically filled up automatically, and he didn't know where it came from. No way. Is this magic? In the next instant, no one paid any attention to the cup. Whitebeard on the stage. Wrinkles are disappearing at a speed visible to the naked eye, and his physical condition is also rapidly becoming younger. Haha, good. Whitebeard's spirit was higher than ever, and his eyes became brighter. Please sit back. Whitebeard simply put down the cup of life in his hand, bent his legs, and returned to his seat. This time, the movement was obviously lighter. 500,000. Before sitting down, Whitebeard made an offer directly, 600,000. Witnessing this magical effect, it's not just Whitebeard who wants it. 1 million. Tezelo, who originally wanted a dog to the end, couldn't help it now. Let's get rid of what most people are talking about first. This is eternal life. This is a priceless thing, but it can be photographed here with money. How can he miss it? Master Kaido, don't we make an offer? Jack asked Kaido beside him. Do you still think I didn't live long enough? I committed suicide so many times and didn't die. What do I want this thing for? As a giant, he is still in his prime at this time. And with the addition of the ancient devil fruit, his lifespan is still very long. I don't think it's fun, and he often commits suicide. If there is anyone present who is not interested in this thing, he is the only one. Hey, it's a headache that this terrible guy has so many good things. After seeing the effect of the cup of life, Kizaru's drooping eyes lifted up. This thing really can't make people calm down. Damn it, it's true that Whitebeard has returned to his youth, and it is difficult to deal with it when he is old. This young state is even more troublesome. Garp, who belongs to the same generation, naturally knows what Whitebeard looked like when he was young. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but feel anxious. It's another piece of goods that can't be sold out. Why does this kid have everything? Fight. 1.1 million. 2 million. Whitebeard had no intention of bidding with others at all, and the offer was inevitable. Garp's face turned red. He had already spent a lot just now, with the support of Naval Headquarters, but he couldn't add more. 2.5 million. Tezelo continued to struggle. He really wanted this thing, but everyone present knew that no one needed it more than Whitebeard. And this is the Whitebeard Pirates. The price has reached such a level that they can no longer keep up. And even if they got the things in their hands, after going out, they will definitely face the earth-shaking offensive of the Whitebeard Pirates. Even if you want it again, after measuring it, you have no choice but to give up. Tezelo also knew this idea, so he just decided to take this thing and give it to the Whitebeard Pirates and cooperate with the Whitebeard Pirates. And Akainu will be fearless. 3 million. No matter how good Tezelo thought in his heart, he didn't dare to say it at this time. Once the rules were broken, there was no need for Marine to do anything, and Chen Fang would deal with it. Hearing Whitebeard's unwavering tone, Tezelo hesitated again, and finally chose to give up. Congratulations to the Whitebeard Pirates for winning the Cup of Life. Chapter 21, Pure Scion Blood. Demon Slayer World Stronghold. Congratulations to host. A total of 3,755,000 resource points will be obtained from this auction, and the pure Scion blood will be rewarded. The commission will be 2 million resource points. After everyone left, Chen Fang couldn't wait to sort out the harvest this time. Because host auction income reached a new high, it obtained the branch authority and activated the branch with 2 million resource points. Before Chen Fang had time to be happy with this huge reward, he was about to face a choice this time. By the way, Xiaobai, where's the branch address? Chen Fang felt a little bit reluctant to use so much at once. The address appears randomly after activation, and you will know it after the host is activated. Chen Fang thought for a while. Xiaobai, open a branch. 2 million is a huge sum of money, but after opening a branch, there will be a steady stream of income. And at that time, you could go to other worlds, and life will be more interesting. This choice is not difficult. Receive the instruction. The branch is under construction, and the estimated time is 5 minutes. A progress bar appeared in front of Chen Fang. There's still 5 minutes just to try the Scion blood. After gaining the ability...
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.